Yo, did you see the new Darwin's Greatest Hits with Iron?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's really funny. Um, he like plays the clip of Iron saying that he's not monotone, but he has it like some sort of software that analyzes the tone and pitch.
It's hilarious.
So funny. Iron, oh, you're in the newest Darwin's Greatest Hits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What gives me that esteemed honor?
I'll give you the link.
I'm sure this will be wonderful.
There you go. It's really funny.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mark.
How are you doing today?
Fine.
Did you enjoy the biblical truths that came out the other day?
What biblical truths?
Um, well, the people who were struggling with, Elisha and the two bears in Second Kings, they were struggling how could God allow an animal to attack children. But we see in the law it says you're meant to respect older men, and if you follow the law, God promised He would protect them from vicious animals. Oh, hear my phone's ringing. I'll be back in a second.
God damn this guy, man.
That video was actually really funny.
Yeah, I knew you'd like it.
I was looking at like the long track of my voice throughout the entire video, and it never really goes outside of a pretty narrow range.
Did you notice that when Brenda mimics your voice and she does a monotone voice, it's like almost exactly like yours?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, I'm back.
He won't divide us. He won't divide us.
The fuck?
Tom.
You just take your medication?
Nah, I'm fine. What's up? You don't sound groggy.
I woke up at like 10. It's a couple hours ago. I'm just having my coffee, but
He hasn't had his sushi yet this morning.
just white rice.
Gotta get those fish oils, son. Dionysus, do you support that that kid that shot up the mosque in Quebec?
Yeah, I think he should get a pardon.
You should get what?
He should get pardoned from it.
Oh my god. Christ. Dionysus, your buddy Iron was in the newest Darwin's Greatest Hits video. You should watch it because it's really funny. Iron thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah,
too.
what was it about?
Just Iron being monotone.
Oh,
Need to change the title, even though I want the title of Christian Spoken says Fiona looks like she's rotting, is about to die. I want that one to stick around for a few days. I really need to push the Dionysus fundraiser. I mean, this is something that needs to happen really as soon as possible.
I don't think people are gonna donate for that.
You should make it something like exposing Dionysus's Black Jewish roots, Day 1 or Part 1.
Well, the mother of all living was Eve, so he's going to share. Yeah, he's going to share a relation with.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe we need to change the title because this Dionysus, a black Jew, kind of like it's kind of not really the angle I think we want. We want it to be something like exposing Dionysus as a hypocrite or like non-purebred or something like that.
Something to feed the circus.
It's $115 because if he's I don't know if you saw the stipulation in the GoFundMe, Lally, but if he is proven to be even 5% Jew or black, then he has to donate $115 to Black Lives Matter, and if he's Jew, he has to donate $115 to like what the ACLU? What I'm sorry, not that. What was the
ADL? I think he said
the ACL. Oh, the ACL Jew.
ACL. Yeah, so it's purposely made to circumvent, that issue, which I can understand. So yeah, and actually, we're not paying for the whole thing. Dionysus is interested in also getting his medical history, so yeah, we get to choose the Jewish one. The Black Lives Matter is something that's in direct conflict with his commitments, so we can figure out the Jewish organization.
Should be the Soros Foundation.
So anyway, yeah, the test costs like I think $200 or something, and we only need to give him $100, but we put in $15 to cover. I don't know, Johnny had that part figured out. But yeah, he could actually, if it comes out good for us, like the best possible scenario is he pays his half of the test, which is $115. He pays $115 to Black Lives Matter, and he also pays $115 to whatever the Jewish organization is we pick. So yeah, it's not all roses for Dio. I mean, he's got a lot, yeah, and it does stack, so he could do both.
Would it not make more sense if someone supported those charities just to give the money directly to those charities?
That could be the case, but like I said, this is actually, he could actually be, those charities could get double that, right?
No, well, the 115 would go towards Dionysus finding out he's black, but then he's only going to give that to the charity, so it's just like a middleman.
Yeah,
Not
but
really.
you get to challenge a Nazi in the meantime. It's like an added bonus.
Yeah, that's an added bonus. Plus, if he's, I mean, I don't know what you don't understand about it stacking. I mean, it's not just $115. If he's 5% black and he's 5% Jew, and he owes $115 to both those organizations, that adds up to $200.
Yeah, I understand that now. Then.
Basically, and if neither is the case, then I mean,
You gotta tell me what you are, and then you gotta play the piano.
I have to tell him. Well, I don't even have a piano. That's going to be a problem for me, so I don't want to promise that.
Okay.
I mean, like, I think if you're going to give the money to the charity, most of the money end up just going towards administration costs. I think, I mean, if you could just help like an elderly, black person with their groceries or something.
You're infusing this process with a lot of joy.
All right.
That's just going to be the logistics of that. I mean, it's got to be all on the up and up, right? So we're going to need, that's going to be hard to get confirmation for. Like, Dio could just be like, yeah, I just saw some random black person and then I gave her the money. I mean, it's just like, how would we know? So I think Johnny said that once he gets once someone gives the first donation, he would match it to 20. So that would be like, say someone gives $5, we'd already be at $90 left. So I think we can do this. I mean, it just takes a few bucks here and there.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but that would only be the scriptures say that people should do what's results in the heart. You know, they shouldn't be doing things grudgingly or under compulsion. Like they should be a cheerful giver. So I wouldn't want to put him under compulsion to do something he doesn't want to do. But I would encourage him to love people from his heart.
God damn, Dio.
What's wrong?
Your
Oh.
music is really loud from your video game. Fuck! Anyways.
I'm playing this game. Let me turn it down. I'm playing this game where it's called Insider, or no, it's Inside, and it's like it appears to be a kid, like these people that are like kidnapping kids. I don't know if they're like a pedophile ring or something, and you're one of the kids, and you gotta try to get away from them. That's what it feels like at first. So, you remember that movie that Running Scared? Have you guys ever watched that movie?
No.
No.
Well, I remember like it was a really good fucking movie. It was let me turn this shit down. So it was about this it was this cop, and next door to the cop was this this guy who cooked crystal meth, and he was like a John Wayne wannabe, and his wife was like this Russian woman that he migrated back to America, and somehow he gets involved. The cop, that not the meth dealer, but the cop somehow gets involved in with the wrong people over something to do with the next door neighbor meth dealer, and it gets really convoluted. There's like this this corrupted cop who's involved with the mob and covering up scandals, and then you have this this couple that kidnap children, make them do sex acts, and then kill them, and then bury them. They've made their rooms like a dungeon where they can like bury the kids underneath the floor, and they kill them after they shoot them in porn flicks. And oh man, it's a good movie. It's pretty scary. So anyway, the cop's kid gets they pretend to give them treats in order to get them into the truck or something like that, and the cop's kid ends up being there, getting caught up, and that's how the kid finds out what's going on. He's calling his mom. She's after the kid, and then like he's like stuck in. I remember the part where he's stuck in the bathroom and he's trying to call his mom, and he's stuck in the pedophile's bathroom, and you can see like the shadows on the wall, like when they're trying to find out where he's at or if he's using the phone. And I remember this shadows. It's not even like the shadows of their hands. It's like the shadow of like his like demonic claws. It's fucking creepy. It's called Running Scared. Let's see if I can. How long have I been muted? Did you guys hear
Just a couple of seconds. We heard you talking about the movie, yeah.
Okay, one second. Let me find it. I mean, it's a phenomenon. I'm pretty harsh on movies, but this was I would say a pretty phenomenal movie to watch. Just because it's so convoluted. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure what should be done with those kinds of people.
I think they should just slowly tortured. I mean, I think before you kill them, they should get the amount of pain that they've caused somebody else.
Yeah, it seems as though shooting them is like the most obvious solution, but then it seems as though there's like some sort of injustice that's done by it being just shot. Like, I think that if you got shot in the head or something, presumably it's a quick death, it's relatively painless and stuff like that.
See, what a lot of people, I think a lot of people have contributed to, and this is funny hearing me say this, but I think people have contributed too much to genetics and not realize how much the environment plays a part in a person's behavior. And so, like, this whole idea that, like, you know, I'm a pedophile, but I'm not a monster. It's just the idea that if you desensitize that type of behavior, right? Like, if you remove the deterrent factor, right? Then you basically you're basically giving the green light to pedophiles. So.
No, I mean, pedophiles are, that's a whole thing on its own, but especially if you're like killing children and like butchering them and stuff, like putting them under floorboards, that's obviously a whole other discussion than just like a run-of-the-mill pedophile, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not trying to minimize pedophilia, but I'm just saying that on the gradient, presumably people who like butcher children and stash them under floorboards would be considered worse than people who sexually assault people, but then leave those people alive and stuff like that.
Well, the thing, I mean, like Louis C.K. was saying, and I mean, I'm not a big supporter of Louis C.K., but I mean, he does make an interesting point. And it's like, it maybe if we didn't, and he's just being like, of course, he's just being, what's the word, crass, which I thought was. When he said that, you know, pedophiles should, if we didn't kill them, then maybe we'd get some of the kids back. And then, I mean, I think that's the reason why I like people kill the children, right? It's not so much. It's not so much. It's not so much like they just have a desire to kill children. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty sound argument that if the consequences were less severe, then you'd have more people willingly coming forwards. But I'm not sure that, I mean, that's a really delicate issue that's really complicated.
Yeah, I was stupid enough one time. Remember that Saturday Night Live joke that Louis C.K. did? He got like it was pretty. He was talking about like how good kids must be or whatever,
No,
Do you remember? Oh,
I don't listen
I need
to
to show you.
Louis C.K.
Let's see. I made the mistake and thinking it was funny, but then I wasn't familiar with the JQ and the sensitivity of it, and I made the mistake of telling somebody that joke, and it came off wrong. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. 1 second.
I think we should just start putting these RFID chips into kids. That make things a lot easier. You know, provided we can do it in a way that's not going to give them cancer or whatever.
Iron, when you were a kid, did your mom put you in one of those harness things with the leash on it?
No.
Seemed like maybe that was a hit.
When you look at the Saturday Night Live one that I showed, like that's typical. Like right down when you think of like Jews and like how they are, like it's right down that it's like stereotypical a Jew type of mentality.
That's interesting coming from a Jew.
The troublesome thing to me is that a lot of these measures only account for children who are born on the grid. And like, obviously, I'm unaware of children who are born off the grid. Like I would say most people are, but it's kind of like a nagging concern that, I mean, any two individuals could have sex in a shack and make each other pregnant, right? And then they could have kids for whatever purposes they want, and the government and the rest of society might never know those children or those people exist. And that's like a bothersome idea, or at least it bothers me to some degree.
That was the wrong video. It's the second one. Sorry. Where the fuck did the iron go? Oh.
Sorry, I disconnected.
I can post it again, the video. I mean, it's like,
I caught the video though.
okay. Did you catch the second one? Because it was the second one, not the first one.
Yeah, I caught it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it. Like, I just don't find pedo jokes very funny.
I think I mean, I wasn't that much younger. It was like 2 years ago, but I think I was completely naive about the situation. I mean, I never even thought about the situation. And when I heard it, I was just thinking like how crass it was and how much he was pushing the envelope. And I remember I tried telling the joke and I got like this really weird, I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Sometimes I feel cheated in the sense that I've grown up in like a society that's, I think it's predominantly run by really ironic or like post-ironic humor. And sometimes it makes me feel cheated from like authentic humor, I would say, or at least what I consider to be more authentic humor.
That's actually a really good, I mean, that's a really, yeah, I think that's a pretty profound statement. Because like that cheap crass humor is certainly a completely different effect than, it's like the difference between like McDonald's and eating a good steak, right? So.
Yeah, it feels like when I see like right-wing humor that predates the memes. So like before you start doing like Pepe and like really dark Holocaust humor and stuff like that, all the right-wing humor was always like the dad jokes and like the Christian friendly jokes, and like they always seemed really lame. But I can only imagine that's because I grew up in like the 80s I was born in the 80s. I grew up in like the 90s and the 2000s where all of my media just told me that shit was lame and told me that like in order for something to be funny, it had to be really crass or it had to be mind-numbingly ironic.
Well, I think what happens in like any system, and I really need to read Oswald. I always pronounce his name wrong. Oswald Splinger. The Decline of the West. I think what happens, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll say it anyway. I think that what happens is you start off in like a conservative right-wing, and right of the center society, right? Because if you're deprived of material goods and stuff, you naturally have to be more to the right in order to survive. There's no way that you could live like a decadent left-leaning type of behavior and survive under deprived conditions. So I think you have that, and so I think people are more censored and stuff because of the deleterious effects that it could have. And then when you have resources, and a lot of resources, then I think that's when you start to see people having the luxury to push the envelope more and more and more. And then I think when you run out of money, right, it's just kind of like, and I think that in the combination of that roller coaster of like, let's see how far we can push the envelope, I think those two things combined is what eventually leads to either a violent or a silent revolution. So it's just my perspective.
I feel as though mainstream society, at least in the West, is being indoctrinated with an idea of irreverence, right? So like we think God is stupid. We think all these different like families are stupid. It's a really pessimistic kind of outlook. Like you think that all these things are lame. You think that people who make moral projections or moral mandates must be hiding something, and so on and so forth. And then I guess I like at the end of the day, I just don't really know what's left. Nothing that withstands scrutiny. So like freedom of speech and like the importance of a human life, or something like the Holocaust, like the 6 million alleged being such a big deal. Once you hit a certain wall and you go past it in terms of being irreverent, then I don't understand why you would even recognize those things. Maybe that's just me, though. Maybe I'm just being nihilistic.
I think in our lifetime we're gonna see, like, I think we're gonna see people. I think we're gonna see a lot of sacrificial lambs.
Yeah, more and more I'm tending to think of this like idea of unrestricted freedom and like having no definition whatsoever. I'm thinking it's more and more abusive. Like every day as I get older and read more about authoritarianism, I just conclude that Western conceptions, or at least contemporary conceptions of liberty, are inherently abusive towards people.
I think I really like that quote that Skinner said about liberals. Let me see if I can find it. He quotes. Let's see, one second. He quotes Milton from Paradise Lost. Let's see. It's always stuck in my head. Yeah, he says. I'll put it in the side chat, but he says when Milton's Satan falls from heaven, he ends in hell. And what does he say to reassure himself? Here, at least we shall be here. We at least will be free. And that, I think, is the fate of the old-fashioned liberal. He's going to be free, but he's going to find himself in hell.
Yeah, I think that aptly describes the situation that we're in right now. I think that, like, this is just an instinct, but I think that parenthood gives you a completely different outlook. And so I think that all these people that were putting off parenthood until they're like 30 or 35, they're all missing like a huge portion of understanding about like how society ought to be organized. And so I think that when you get these ideas of like absolute freedom, then you're unaware of the fact that like it would be considered abusive if I never taught my kids English, because like I felt that English was restricting their freedom and they ought to be free to develop any language they want, right? Like I'll wait until they're 18 and then they can pick a language and then they can start learning it. Like that, people would obviously say something like that would be abusive and absurd, but we do similar things by not indoctrinating children with certain ideologies, or not giving people a model citizen to, or like an ideal to aspire to. But I have a couple of errands that I have to do, and then I'm gonna make a video about this Quebec shooting. So I'll catch up with you guys later, maybe after dinner or something.
All right. See ya.
Later.
Hi, Joshua. Eh, Joshua, do you know what your name means?
Oh, I imagine he does.
Well, Joshua, yeah, it means salvation to Jehovah. Salva-
Uh, do you know what the name Russell means?
um, like the origin of it.
No, just the meaning.
Is this like an arbitrary meaning, like just like someone's made up, or is it?
No, well, I mean, all meanings are arbitrary.
Oh no, well, I mean like from like its origin. Like a lot of names have a meaning from their origin.
Well, in this case, the word, the name Russell means to make a noise.
Or to make a noise.
Like
Yeah.
Russell some Jimmy's.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Ragnac.
It was funny. Josh, he came in to hang out earlier, spreading rumors about Darwin's deity being a paedophile, and I asked him if paedophilia is always wrong, and he wouldn't answer. But it just sort of shows you the foolishness. Yeah.
I didn't say any of that, Mark. You're lying.
Yeah, he was also there was another guy in the hangout called Liam, and yeah, they were Josh and Jack were trying to say, why should you even trust us? That was their whole argument. Why would you even trust us?
Mark is lying again.
Yeah. Well, no, if I am lying, everyone, it's a defect. Yeah, and I apologize for that. I mean, Josh, how long have you been like on these hangouts? Is Josh the one who goes into the side chats and says, he's going to destroy people?
I'm not sure.
Interesting way to try and get people to talk to you, Mark, is to accuse them of something they didn't do and then talk shit about them.
Oh, no, I'd be able to present witnesses to it, but I wouldn't even, if you think I'm lying, just, don't believe me. You can ask Josh for himself if pedophilia is
Generally,
always wrong.
that is the course of action with lies. I try not to believe them.
Yeah. No, well, that's what I'm saying. You can ask Josh yourself if pedophilia is always wrong. And,
Why would I have to ask him? He says what you said is not what he said. So what more do I need to know?
Yeah, don't take my word for it, Tom. Ask
I'm
him
not.
yourself.
I'm not. I heard what he said already. I don't need to ask him. He said you're lying.
Oh, so do you think he's saying it is always wrong?
Pedophilia?
Yeah.
You'd have to make an argument for that. I don't.
Oh, no, I'm saying, do you think that's what Josh's position is, that pedophilia is always wrong? Because
he's probably he's a moral relativist. Plus, I don't even know what you mean. What about pedophilia, which is just never results in any action of any kind?
Yeah, do you mean
almost like a neutral
the tendency, or do you mean the action of molestation?
Sorry, I was just taking a wee drink of water there. I'm talking about the action of Josh touching a child for his own sexual pleasure.
Why would you bring it there?
Is that part of pedophilia?
Well, why would you personalize it?
I don't need to personalize. I can change Josh's name to
Let's just say, how about you touching a child? Let's use that example.
That would always be wrong. Yeah, love does not look out for its own interests.
So if Mark touches a child, and what are we calling a child? Under 18?
I don't know. I'd say
you don't know, but why would you be criticizing someone if you don't even know the parameters of?
Oh, Josh is gone.
What you're talking about?
Well, I would say, I would say a child would be. I'm talking about pedophilia. It would be a child who isn't sexually active.
A child
is under the care of their parents.
Well, that could be like a 27-year-old.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people here who, I mean, you don't become mature because you reach a certain age. Maturity is, it would be It would be based on
What age
actions.
is a child?
It can vary. I mean, a child in different
vary?
nations. Yeah.
So what do you what's the
How old was the? Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, how old was the mother of Jesus?
Yeah, I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there is an answer. I'd have to look that up.
I mean, if it's typical to our culture, I mean, if granting the story its own framework, I'm assuming 12 or 13. But go ahead, Tom. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So you don't know what constitutes the age to determine what a child is. You don't know.
Well, I did say a child that's sexually active, not under the care of their parents.
So it's okay if it's a 9-year-old, but they're sexually active?
Well, are they under the care of their parents? Like, are they
No.
making choices? Are they working? Do they run a house?
Why does that matter?
Because
For a
that's what
9-year-old?
maturity is, Tom. Maturity isn't.
Okay, so as a 9-year-old
micromanaging them.
who's living on the streets on her own and who is sexually active, it's okay to fuck them?
Well, remember, you have to get consent.
Yeah, they consent.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Are you saying it's okay?
No, or the scenario is you touching a child.
No, I'm married, so I wouldn't have sex with anyone else.
So that's the only thing. That's the objection is you being married.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm loyal to my wife.
So how about somebody else, right? Someone out there who wants to fuck a 9-year-old, and they consent, and they're already
They ask your
sexually active,
advice. Yeah.
and they're not under the care of their parents. They're independent. It's okay to fuck them.
They say, Mark, is that okay?
I'd be concerned if that was the criteria someone had.
Well, that's your criteria you gave. That's you. We asked you what the criteria was. You gave it, and then we used an example, and then you're saying, well, it would depend on the criteria.
Sorry.
Well, I'm pretty much saying, should anyone want to do that to another human being, just for their own personal pleasure?
But that's a whole nother like a whole nother area of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's chances that that child couldn't, if she has to get pregnant, and because you're calling her a child, so if this person wasn't able to give birth,
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well,
What does that have to do
Well-
with touching a child?
Well, it's about treating others as we want to be treated. We don't want to harm a child.
Yeah, the child wants to consent. In other words, they want to fuck you as much as you want to fuck them. Or not you personally, the person in the scenario. What is ambiguous about this?
They say they do.
Well, see, I would show compassion to that child and not do that.
With your dick?
No, I think if a child was brought up thinking that he needs to, like, have sex like a rabbit, then the child's needs put onto the right path, like in the right direction. You know,
So
life isn't just about
Look,
sex.
you're just bloviating right now. I don't know what the fuck you're even talking about, right? The scenario is we asked you what is the scenario? You said it's wrong if they don't give consent, so the child gives consent. You said it's wrong if the child is still living with their parents. We said the child's not living with their parents. You said it's wrong if
Well, what's the conditions for the child not living with the parents? Is it
the conditions are what
immaturity?
you gave us. We're using your conditions.
All right,
We're
well,
using
well,
what you said would be wrong and right for a child to fuck.
Well, if a child ran away from their parents because like the daddy took away a Barbie, that would be a sign of immaturity. But yeah, if a child left their parents to work and start their own household and to start a family, I would say that's the sign.
At 9?
Yeah, the second scenario. Yeah, that's what is the scenario. The one that's okay for you for them to fuck is the one we're talking about.
Holy shit.
No, I said earlier I wouldn't encourage anyone just to.
Who cares if you encourage it or not? Nobody gives a fuck.
No, love doesn't look out for its own interests. So yeah, I would I mean, if I found a child in that state, I wouldn't look to have sex with that child. I'd look to put them in the right direction.
Well, she's 9. She's got some real fucking. She's got a smoking hot body at 9. So you might have to reconsider that, Mark. She's consenting. She went out to be independent and work, right? She's checking all your boxes. She's open for fucking.
No, I wouldn't be checking all the boxes.
Why not? Though she matches the condition of everything that you specified so far.
Well, I mean, are you saying that this is a mature 9-year-old who's able to have sex and give birth to children?
What part of every condition that you specified is the case in this scenario do you not understand?
I believe Tom is asking you, not
I'm just
presenting a
wondering.
scenario.
I'm wondering if he is
your
sure.
scenario.
This
What?
doesn't sound like a real 9-year-old. So I'm just wondering.
These
I
are
mean,
your conditions, though.
Well, it's no different to Tom giving an example where he says a 2-year-old who can do all those things, but it's unrealistic.
Yeah, that's why she's 9. It's believable.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
you
think
know,
9
the
is
world's youngest mother gave birth at like 6 years old.
5.
5.
By mistake.
Was she okay afterwards?
Yeah.
Doubt it.
Yep. Nope, she lived and everything.
Why did you bring up this subject again? I guess that seems to be one of those
Oh no,
ones that it
Josh
circles
was-
around. No, Dionysus was talking about.
So
it.
I think you came in guns blazing and said that Josh, or implied Josh is a piece of shit because he was saying that pedophilia is okay.
Josh
shut up,
was-
shut up.
All right,
You said that it was okay, and then he denied that and said you were lying. And then we investigated and started asking you in what conditions pedophilia would be okay, or fucking a 9-year-old. And you said if they left the house early to go work and were independent, which is insane, it shouldn't really matter at all. And then another condition you gave was that they consent to the sex at 9. Right,
Yeah,
and
and you have to
your
remember-
position, and your position is that you are condemning Josh's moral relativist view on pedophilia, right?
No, another thing, a condition.
What
would
is
be-
inaccurate about what I just said?
Another condition that I would put on there is respecting the authorities because they've been put in place.
Okay.
So, yeah, so
So
depending
you
on
need
where you
a
live.
rule to tell you that would be wrong.
What's that?
Do you need a rule written down or told to you to tell you that that's wrong?
Oh, yeah, no, somebody, I obey God rather than men. So he says,
Oh.
respect the authorities whenever.
So
they're-
if
as long
someone
as the
wasn't
authority
telling
says
you
it's
that it was
okay.
wrong,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so as
that
long
was-
as
that
someone
wasn't
says
the
it's
question.
okay, then it's actually encouraged.
What's that, sorry? There's a lot of people talking.
So as long as the law says that it's okay, which in some places it is.
Oh no,
right?
no, we obey God rather than men, but he says to obey the authorities as long as they're being reasonable. So I would say that.
interesting.
child marriage and these types of things are legal in some places, right?
Yeah, in a lot of states in America, you could be married at any age.
That's
No,
not
it's just
true.
kind of- no, it's not.
It's not with the parents'
Yeah, I'm
consent.
pretty sure that's not true. I know there's
Yeah.
It
certain
goes down
states
pretty.
where
It goes down far too low, but it's
What
not.
are you
any age.
insane? You're saying like a couple can
Oh, well,
as
not
long-
any age, but I think in some states it says, if a child's over like 10, then it's down to the parents. Like the parents can actually get
10-year-olds? It's illegal for that to happen in the first place. Giving the parents giving consent wouldn't fucking matter.
Let me just
It's
do a
like
quick
saying like
Google.
the parents can give my child consent to murder someone.
I think maybe 15 or 16 might be closer to the age you're thinking of, Mark.
I think in Kentucky and some places like that, it is somewhat lower, but not 10.
Right. 10 is, you're not even, like, I don't know what you're doing.
There are some insane places in this country, as everyone should be expected. Should come as no surprise.
Yeah, no, I'm just doing a quick Google here, just wonder if there's an easy chart that I can read.
Well, you're gonna have to find one with pictures then.
Okay.
Please don't.
This seems like something you could just Google and find it right away.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just insane that when this scenario comes up, you're asking yourself whether or not the 9-year-old is consenting.
The part that bothers
well, that
me
would
is that
be
you
going
need a
against the
rule,
law,
that you
right,
need
Liv?
someone to, that you're relying on a rule, that you're relying on somebody to tell you that that's wrong. That's the scary part. To me, anyway.
But yeah.
You're
Is this
saying
what
it's
you meant
scary,
when you
but-
came in here to tell us the good news? Is that we can fuck 9-year-olds and it's okay?
Oh, God.
No, I haven't said you can fuck 9. Oh, sorry, everyone. I swore. That was me
We actually
imitating.
did,
Tom.
as long as certain conditions are met. Right?
No, but I wouldn't. No, I didn't say that. That would be misrepresenting me.
You gave the conditions. Well, what's misrepresenting you about you giving the conditions freely?
Wait,
Well,
I was going to jump in actually to defend Mark, meaning deontological ethics pretty much describe his last straw. Everything else other than his own ethical system, then he skips to deontological ethics, which is common.
I realize that. I'm challenging it.
yeah,
I know
all I'm saying is,
deontology is a way of parsing this stuff out, but it doesn't make sense to me since those rules seem to be arbitrary based on the personality of the rule giver and the whims of the rule giver.
Right, because he said something to the effect of, we follow God's rule, but if we follow man's rule, it's to like the limit of reasonability. But then who chooses what's reasonable, right? Wouldn't you ultimately fall back on the Bible?
well, that's what. Yeah, reasonable is based on good sense. So,
That's the same thing, right? So what are you basing that on, though? Like, what do you mean reasonable? Like, what's the measure?
Unbelievable.
well, whenever a man goes to stick with a woman, it's not to have sexual
Okay,
intercourse with
that's
them
an example.
necessarily.
That's an example. I'm asking for the measure. So when you say we follow God's law, but we're also commanded to follow man's law, right? That's within reason,
Yeah.
right? So what's your measure of what is considered reasonable? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, if I was, if I seen a 9-year-old and I wanted to love her, then I could be reasonable because I'm not there to have sex with her; it's to love her. So I could actually wait until.
Right, but again, that's another example. I'm asking for the measure. Like, what is the
Is
measure?
anyone
So
else finding this creepy?
you're sitting there with the 9-year-old,
This is
right?
creepy as fuck.
Since you want to go down this road.
No, I
You're-
could exercise patience. And
Hey,
wait until
9-year-old,
that
let me show
9-year
you my watchtower.
No, I could patience and wait until that 9-year-old is of the legal age for me to marry her legally.
But you just thought
This
it
is
was
actually a
10,
sub.
right?
This is actually. A
I mean, are you
subject
saying
that
to
I
exercise
I have to
patience
admit,
and
Tom,
obey the law is?
What's that?
I think you've been
Go ahead.
upgraded to black belt. How you've been able to maneuver yourself in this conversation.
Thank you.
So, congratulations. All right.
This is actually a subject, Mark, that you might want to use caution talking about, given the state of your own organization in relation to certain lawsuits around the response to child abuse.
Lily, I mean, can a father love his daughter without having an intercourse?
Of course.
Okay, so-
Did you hear what I said,
so,
though?
Generally,
Are you aware of the Australian Royal Commission?
Well, I'm sticking to. I don't want to change the topic. So we've
I'm just trying to keep you from going in a direction which is going to
subject for 9-year-olds. Mark
which-
wants to keep this in that area.
which is
Yeah. I
going
wanna keep it in
to
that
force
area.
me to bring forth some literature and some information that you're probably not allowed to hear. Just saying.
We've identified from Lily, and all of you might agree that a father can love his daughter without having intercourse. So we can say it's possible for a man to love a child without having intercourse. So I mean, that's where I just put it to. We can also see that we can exercise patience. I mean, a lot of you are being patient while I'm even speaking. So yeah, if you wanted to give love to a child, not sexually, but marry that child, then you could wait patiently until they are the legal age.
But the fact you're waiting patiently says there is a sexual desire involved with that emotion, does it not?
What if you just fuck her, you know, and when she's a minor, and then when she turns of legal age, you make love to her? Is that better?
No, well, that's where I think that's the difference with the world is, yeah, whenever you're in the truth, you can sort of suppress. Suppress might be the wrong word, but you can control your sexual desires. In the truth, it would encourage us to exercise self-control and yeah, treat each other kindly.
Well, you can treat that 9-year-old kindly if you give her pleasure.
Well, no, it depends what you mean by that.
This is creepy as fuck.
Yeah, please, can we stop?
Yeah,
as a person with a daughter on the way too, it's just really, really, and I'm not a person that's easily put off by things.
Yeah, it's really kind of skeevy.
Yeah. And this is super creepy shit right here, man. Like,
but
as a father of many children,
the fact that you can go into it this way, Mark, really concerns me.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I want to make something clear.
I
want to make something clear. The reason I'm going so hard at you about your organization is that you haven't been baptized yet, and I want to get you this information before you've been baptized, so that you don't write off the rest of your life and face consequences that you won't like if you discover that it's what I think it is. Anyway, everyone go ahead. That's the only reason I'm doing this.
I want to just, I want to put a defense up for myself. People are saying that it's creepy that I can look at this, that you could love a child and exercise patience until they're the legal age to marry that child. And people are saying that's creepy, but I'm just...
well, yeah, that's the creepy part, is the fact that you're an adult sitting next to a child, and
with a game plan.
The first thought in your head is, oh, I'm gonna wait until she's of age so I can fuck this chick.
Oh
that's the screwed up part that people do.
I don't think that's what he meant, to be fair, but it did come off that way.
It came off that way. But
yeah, I mean, being married, I mean, people can get married who can't even have sex. So yeah, people don't get married just to have sex. It's about sticking together and being loyal to one another throughout this life. So it's about loyalty, not about sexual
Sure,
pleasure.
I can do that with a dog, but there's a certain conversation you were having before that
you can have sexual pleasure with a dog.
No, you just omitted sex from the equation, and you only you boiled it down to
I'm asking you that as a question.
Companionship and loyalty, and I said you can have that with a dog, right? You can have
I usually check out the litter for those prospects, and then I just decide what I'm going to do when they come of age. I don't mess with the puppies.
Right. That's a good analogy, Tom. I like that one.
And I have to say, I think the thing that Albatross wrote in the group side chat is ridiculously funny.
Yeah, that was
thank you.
I don't understand what you're saying, Mark. I don't think I want to understand what you're saying, to be quite honest. I'm willing to listen to you, but...
No, the criticism you're given, Joseph, is actually against your own position. So the criticism...
You don't even know my position.
Okay, well, what is your position on this? Like, what is the right age?
Well, what is this? Explain this.
To the child.
Explain this, and then I'll explain my position. What is this?
Yeah.
What is the this? So my position on this. What is this? And then I'll explain my position.
Yeah, this is what age is would you have sexual intercourse with a child?
I wouldn't. I don't think any of us. Yeah.
It wouldn't happen.
Okay, all right. And what defines what changes that child into an adult?
A lot of the time is what's the fucking word I'm looking for? The phrase I'm looking for.
Hormone?
Not autonomy. No, not hormones. It's not a biological. It's a psychological state of your brain when you're. you're at that age where you understand things, right? You won't be psychologically traumatized by
mental maturity.
Mental maturity, that's it. So there is
Okay,
a
and
point.
how do you measure mental maturity? This psychological stage where you won't be traumatized. Like, how do you
Well,
measure that and test it?
We have a lot of studies of teenagers who have sex versus children who have been abused by sex or have had, willing sexual activities with people not knowing certain things, right? You see the damage that's done to the children. It's not the same.
Earlier, your atheist friends were talking about a child that had a baby at 6 years old.
Got an
And I
echo,
said,
yes.
was she harmed? And they responded, no, she wasn't harmed. So, like,
If a
You can't have a baby at 6 years old.
Can't have a
That's
baby
not
at
possible.
6. That's an
Yeah,
impossible.
that would be
Well,
an
it's happened. Yeah, the record.
I would
is
get
fine,
Tom the.
but That's
Yeah.
an extreme case.
Tom, you explained to him how this child wasn't harmed at having given birth at 6 years old.
I can't explain that. I know nothing about the situation at all.
Yeah, I would have to look into that some.
Google is my friend.
You see, what I see, Joseph, here is you were criticizing me, but whenever I put it onto you, you haven't actually give a solid answer. I
just
was
did.
able to give a solid answer from my position.
I just did.
Joseph, you went wishy-washy. You said, "Oh, it's a."
I couldn't think of the term, and then Joyce helped me out. But that's where I was going, and it all has to do with if you want to use the term mental maturity. I'm sure there's a more precise psychological term to describe the phenomena I'm talking about. But there is a point in a person's life where they're able to handle certain types of what you would consider trauma, right?
And what is that point? That's the question.
Well, it's
What is
obviously
that
an
point?
age. It's obviously an age between 16 and upward, right? Because people
between 16
people before that seem to have a hard time coping with those things, whether they become sexually promiscuous or whether they turn to hurting themselves or turn to drug addicts. There are effects that happen that we can see in society that happen from people when they go through these types of events at a young age. I'm emphasizing the young age part, right?
So what you're saying, 16 and upwards. So you're acknowledging that people can mature at different rates. Some people can mature faster than others. So if someone was able to mature at a speed which allowed them to mature at 15, are you saying that then it would be from 15 and upwards?
No, but the whole problem. Can I answer this question? Because I've been thinking about this. But the problem that you've got is, yes, you can look at individuals, but what we're looking at is we're looking at the group. We're looking at population. So this is why various countries have statutory laws which define the age of consent. So in the UK, the age of consent for sex is 16. And,
So
you're considered an actual adult in the UK either at 18 or 21, depending on which particular thing.
I just want to apply, because I want to point out the hypocrisy in the room. I was being criticized for appealing to God as my authority for not having sex with a child. Now you're appealing to a law.
No, I'm not.
Nobody's appealing to a law.
There's no appealing.
No, nobody's appealing to a law. Where do you think that law comes from?
Where
By
does
the
the
way,
age of consent come from, Mark? Do you
yeah.
think
Where do you think that law comes from?
You think a bunch of judges sat around and said, "Hey, the age of consent today, you guys, it'll be 16." No, it's done through fucking studies, social studies.
That's right.
They figure these things out. Social studies.
That's right. Black Joseph is right.
I only know this because I'm fucking taking addictions counseling, and we go through all this shit every day, and they tell us about things, right? So it's interesting that we're having this conversation. For me, anyway.
Every child is capable of having sex at 16. Every living child.
No, it's not. No. Okay, now here's the part of the program where Mark fucks around. This isn't just about whether or not you can have sex. This is about whether or not you're mature enough, first of all, to endure sex. Second of all, to deal with the social or the emotional implications, the hormonal changes, the fucking men. It's and part of the reason that it's set a little bit lower than the age of majority is because kids unfortunately sneak off into the bushes and do it. And if you don't put it just a little bit lower, what you end up with is the necessity for Romeo and Juliet laws, right? Because otherwise you end up criminalizing sexuality. But this has nothing to do with whether or not you can physically do it.
Gus, you're standing in Texas. You've got one leg. Sorry, you've got one leg in Texas, one leg in Mexico. So you've got.
Well, that's
one
very
law that
interesting.
says-
But perhaps you
one
couldn't
law that
speak in
says you can
perhaps you couldn't speak in parabos and just speak plainly.
Because
Right, just say
one
your
place you
state.
can consent at age 12, and in the other you can consent at 16 or 18. Now,
Who the
which
hell does
leg
that?
is right?
What are you talking about?
Well, that's what the scriptures bring out about unbelievers. They don't know their left from their right.
What are you talking about? This has nothing to you. Wow!
You're saying
wow!
the
You just
age of
you just
consent
you just
is a
launched a flying
universally
non sequitur
accepted
kick.
standard?
You just launched a flying non sequitur kick.
Do you know about the rules in your own organization? Do you know that when someone comes forward with an allegation of child abuse, if they don't have two witnesses to
by
that
the
child
way,
abuse, like sitting
no,
there, standing there while it's happening,
I just want to.
it's never taken into consideration?
Very quickly with Mark, and I'll let you carry on. The actual age of consent in Mexico is 18. Yeah, you are that there is a discretionary thing between 12 and 18 where you have minors having sex with each other that does not then become statutory rape. But the age of consent in Mexico is 18. You are wrong.
Okay,
No, the way that it works, actually in Mexico it's 12. But the way that it works,
I'm reading the law as we speak.
All right,
It works. It's actually 12. Okay, so how do you know that, Diney?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Explain this, please.
Okay, so I know this because I was going to go teach in Japan, and I needed to know some basic laws. I wanted to
About
familiarize
Mexico.
with the basic laws. No, but it wasn't about Mexico. It was just when I went to the online link for it. I mean, it was recommended that we go and learn about the laws. It wasn't just child laws. It was also laws involving drugs, doing drugs, getting caught there or whatever. And so, the way that, like in Japan, the way that it works is that you have to be 13 in Japan, but this is where the stipulation becomes important. You have to have the parents' consent, the father's consent, up to like age 22, I believe.
Did I just lose my mind and have a stroke, or is Dio talking about Japan when 2 seconds ago we were talking about Mexico?
I know, but I'm saying
just typed in the side chat. Japan equals Mexico.
No, the reason why I know it's Mexico, the reason why I say Mexico is because on the same window that it was open on, I looked at all the other countries and was comparing.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. You killed me there for a minute. You straight up killed me for a minute. I was just like, oh no, this is an
Yeah, so I
all-time
would
dump.
imagine, like in Mexico, the stipulations is that you have to have like if like a 13 and a 12-year-old can have sex, it's fine, or if there's father's consent. But like at age 18, probably the parent no longer has a word. Say it. 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that part of the reason that we got into this was insane because Smiley Face isn't actually talking about what goes on in Mexico. He's trying to be biblically clever, and it's got nothing to do with nothing.
Well, what we've identified is you don't know your left hand from your right. You're saying there's this.
Well, we haven't identified anything. We haven't identified a single thing.
What we've
All we've
identified
identified is that you're still a shite disturber.
Let's bow down and worship
propaganda that you wanted to fucking help your side out, right? And it didn't work. You got fact checked. You got fact checked, and now you have to backpedal a bit and just blame everybody else again.
I was able to give a solid foundation for my beliefs. You guys are just.
What are you saying? A solid foundation from your beliefs?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I would be able to justify that, I could be patient and listen to the authorities and follow the laws and, love my wife without the ambition just to have sex. It would be different type. It would be loving her.
You're absolutely right. Without any religious background whatsoever, people without religious backgrounds absolutely cannot do these things. Wait. Yes, they can. Uh-oh.
The last I checked, I was able to procreate the last time I checked.
Well, I'm not defending all religions here. I'm just defending my own beliefs. But I mean, from what I can see in this room is, I don't know how many unbelievers there are, but so far none of them have been able to.
So what answer are you looking for? Because
none of them have been able to. None of them finish the sentence. None of them have been able to do what?
Well, I know what he's talking about. Because if the answer
no, let him finish the sentences, Steve.
Sure.
None of you have been able to justify what is the right age for a child.
We haven't been able to justify it. What do you mean? No. What would constitute a justification in your eyes?
It would be
You mean if we can give a reason for the age that you agree with, that's a justification. Because that's functionally what it boils down to.
No, I'm talking about showing something to be right or reasonable. That's what justify means.
Right. He's looking for a final authoritative figure that we look to, Gus, as non-believers, and he's not going to get that from us.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
That's not what justification means.
It just.
Well, that's how he's using justification. I'm not saying that that's what it means, Tom. I'm saying that's how he's using it.
So all the people.
No, he said that justification means that something's right or reasonable, right? People can have bad justifications that are unreasonable.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be.
But he's speaking from a standard point of view. He has a standard as to what is reasonable and unreasonable. His is a God, and we have.
Well,
nothing.
I mean, this is the Peter Pan aspect of believers, right? It's like they can't rely on themselves. They can't believe in themselves. They don't understand that once they hit the age of majority, they form the greater body that creates the rules, because the rules are created by us. And they think that they're unworthy to do that. So instead they externalized into a Bronze Age survival manual what they should be doing. Fine and all for a number of things, except that now you end up with nonsense like what went on in Ireland when that poor woman got sick. She was having a baby. The baby turned necrotic and it killed her, and they couldn't save her because they couldn't do an abortion because the Catholic Church said no, all life is sacred.
Yeah,
except the mothers. Except the mothers. And that's what happens when you're not mature enough to accept upon yourself the burden of the fact that each moral situation carries with it enough ambiguity that while you can be guided by the received wisdom of that which has gone on in the past and the not too distant past, you essentially have to take on a degree of responsibility, and you have to use your own head, and you have to interpret the situation as best you can. And that's how humanity operates.
So to summarize, Gus is saying, do whatever is right in your
Yeah,
own
no. You don't you dare.
Don't
you dare. No, there is no summarization.
That's not what he said. That's not
even close, and then that's not even how the world
It's completely close. He said, you make
No, it's not. No, it's not bowl of scotch. No, it isn't bowl of scotch. No bowl of scotch. It's not. Nice try, though, bowl of scotch. And if you're going to be an arsehole like that, you're going to discover that you're simply going to be countered every time you open your gob.
All we've identified in this hangout is, there's.
You haven't identified anything. You're completely impossible at identifying anything.
What I've identified is that we all agree on one thing, that people shouldn't molest little kids, and you're asking us for a justification, which is confusing to me because we agree on the major point anyways. So now you're just trying to quibble over nothing.
You know why you don't molest little kids? Because your mommy told you not to, and that's good enough for the rest of us. Just like a great deal of our wisdom and morality is received from what came before us.
Fuck on, please.
Why don't you hit little Johnny in the sandbox in the head when you want his dump truck? Because you're not supposed to hit. That's the way that works.
A child from an adult.
What are you fucking blithering on about?
Mark, everything that you say is going to stem from your disagreeing with our lack of justification, and I'm not going to give you that, man, because we don't. If you're not going to accept how we justify our morals, and it's a problem for you because it's not the same way you justify them, yet we all agree on the same kind of moral principles, that becomes your problem to deal with, and you have to work that out for yourself.
We're not agreeing. Joseph is all you are able to present to me is it's not fashionable to have sex.
Fashionable? You think this is about fashion? Do you think this is about de rigueur?
Gus, don't take the bait.
No, I'll take the bait and I'll shove it right up his ass.
No, actually, I've got some questions. So, Mark, do you think morals are objective? Is this where you're going with all this?
Oh, Jesus! So we get into that again.
Are you in? What do you believe? Are you an atheist?
No.
Doesn't matter what he believes. He asked you a simple question what he believes doesn't matter. Don't pull that garbage. There are no apologists here.
I'm asking you for your position on morals. Are they objective or subjective?
Yeah, they're both.
Do you think they're both?
Did you just say they were both?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, bowl of scotch, you've got some splaining to do.
Dude, I'm waiting for this. This should be good.
Well, God gives us the objective standard, and then we apply that. But each
Oh,
person
he does more than
transfers
that. God dictates. God dictates to you chapter and verse what you should do.
Right.
I don't know.
It's usually principles that you can apply, but ultimately it says if someone doesn't know what the right thing to do is, then it isn't a sin. So there is going to be situations where
If someone doesn't know what the right thing to do is, it isn't a sin. Boy, that's Catholic, eh?
You're ignorant
Isn't
of
that
sin,
Catholic?
it's not a sin?
No, that's a verse in the Bible.
If you're ignorant of sin, it's not a sin. Wow, in that case, mankind's laws are more comprehensive than God's are.
That's
Welcome to the jungle.
Mark, I don't know what you're trying to prove, man, but just stop while you're ahead, dude.
Okay, I'll follow it up with one.
In order
one
to
more
do that,
question.
he would have to be ahead.
I'll ask one more question.
Good point, Tom.
Are you responsible for your actions?
Yeah, you would have to be if they're your actions.
And I think that's where I don't need to go any further. I don't think.
Do that. Good job, Mark. You're making progress.
Yeah,
I put about 6 links in the side chat, just Mark. I'm not trying to tell you any lies.
Is one of them Nambla?
A glance at them before you get baptized. Just for your own knowledge, before you commit your life to these people, I want you to take a look at this latest, like just a couple of those. Relating to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
Relating to the topic at hand. There's nothing. That YouTube link is simply the testimony of one of your governing body members. That's all it is. It's him talking. So that you wouldn't get in trouble for that, I promise.
Who are we talking about here? Is this a Catholic or what?
No, this is a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, dear Christ, he wants to be a Jeho.
I would consider looking at Lily, but you have to remember I have looked into it deeply already. So it's if I keep looking at things that people show me, which are to be
Well, don't you want to see
discouraging.
Jeffrey Jackson testify? If nothing else, you get to see one of your governing body members interacting with the world.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I will consider looking at them.
Okay, that's all I ask.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the Bible verse, James 4:17, it says, "Therefore, someone knows how to do what is right, and yet does not do it. It is a sin for him." So it's only a sin if you know how to do what is right and don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's why the Bible brings out that unbelievers, they don't want to know the Bible truths because then they'll know what to do, what is right to do, and they don't want to take on that responsibility.
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly
I'm
how that
wondering what
goes.
kind of life you think I live. I'm wondering what you think an unbeliever's life looks like.
Lots
Do
of
you, do you think it looks like one thing?
Lots of plants and early morning coffee.
It might surprise you how few depraved things I actually do. And I think that goes for a lot of us.
This is Christianity, though, Lally. I mean, this isn't just about
depraved by
depravity.
nature.
This isn't just about depravity in doing. It's about depravity in thought as well.
Yeah, but they're very much a works-based system, so it's really an action thing. It's an action-oriented.
Lucky for you.
Yeah, so it's less about the internal depravity and more about like what you're actually doing, as well as what you believe. Well, it's actually mostly about whether you're doing enough to stay in good status with the organization.
But how do you know, Lily, if what you're doing is depraved without knowing the truth?
I'm
I
pretty
would
sure
just
that
be
I
like-
have at least as good a handle on what the truth is than you do.
Miscegenation's like the most deprived act that a person can do.
I think that's
miscegenation.
completely
What a
not what we're talking
filthy-
about, and you should
What
really
a
just go
filthy,
away.
ugly term. What an ugly, filthy term from an ugly, filthy fucking thought process. This whole notion that some people aren't fit to love or be loved by is just unbelievable.
Do you know the reasons why I'm against miscegenation? You don't even know why I'm against miscegenation.
It doesn't matter.
We
It
don't
doesn't
want
matter.
cares.
Nobody
No
cares
one-
why.
Anybody care?
why
Anyone want to know?
Let's not derail. I mean, that could go.
Yeah, go back to your tequila or whatever the hell it is you're sipping on at fucking 3:30 in the afternoon.
Don't take the bait.
Let's all look at what Michael's doing. Michael,
I think one
that
of the
that poor satyr has a heart condition.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for you guys to convert me over to the reality here. So I'm waiting for you to show me what is the right age for consent.
We have.
I'm not even trying. I'm not in the least interested in trying to convert you from Christianity.
Yeah,
I'm interested in trying to keep you from baptizing yourself into something that you may regret later.
No, but I'm wanting you to convince me what is the right age of consent.
No, I think you need to stay where you are psychologically, because if we take that away from you, you might go completely insane and just start raping people. We don't need to have
it does say that if tomorrow we're going to die, let's just drink and be merry.
I don't say that.
You guys don't even.
Who says that?
Who says that? That's not something I say.
Vikings.
Oh, the Vikings. Yeah, let's take our moral philosophy from the Vikings.
Well, I was to ask you, Joseph, if I said, what is your hope for your future, your existence? What would your answer be?
That my family does well.
And no, for your existence.
Oh, see, you cling to this permanence.
That would be a part of my existence, right?
I'm amazed always by your need.
Like, are you asking me my personal goals? Are you asking me my personal goals?
Well, I'll stick with that answer. I mean, when you say your hope, your family does well, are you hoping that they will live forever?
No. That they just have happy and healthy lives after I'm gone.
Okay, so your hope in this life is that your family will die.
What?
Jesus Christ,
dude, you are something else.
I'm just. Is your family going to die?
Well, we're all gonna die, right?
So that's your hope. Your hope is that you will die and your family will die.
How did you?
Why is the facing of a reality being confused with a hope? What are you talking about? Would you please stop talking in circles?
No, I asked.
It's like saying I know I'm gonna walk out my front door, so I'm hoping that I walk out my front door. Like,
there's a phrase for what you're doing, Mark. It's called too clever by half. Would you please stop the too clever by half bullshit?
It's weird. Yeah. I don't understand, because
get to your point. No, what he's using, he's sort of trying to walk you into his point backwards. Like, just get to the point.
Right.
Yeah, it was Joseph. Whenever I said for tomorrow we'll die, so let's drink and be merry. That's where I was saying to you, what is your hope for the future? Now your hope is.
He just told you so that his children will prosper and that his children's children will prosper.
Yeah. So let's drink and be merry, for tomorrow we will die.
No.
That's not how.
That says there's no care for the future, Mark. And what Joseph said is exactly the opposite of what you've just said. And you're really now starting to piss me off.
What Joseph said is that he hopes to die in the future and he hopes his family.
I never once said I hope.
No, he said he hopes his family does well.
All right, you're just fucking around now.
The reality of the fucking thing is that he is going to die because everybody
If you
dies.
want to talk to somebody who does hope to die, then I'll play your game, but I don't think it'll go at all as well as making someone angry, because I'm not going to get angry about it.
Well, yeah. Well, hope is a desired expectation, is one way of defining it. So if your hope is to die, then
a hope is an aspiration.
You can.
Do you aspire to die, or do
I
you
hope
seek to live
never,
another day?
ever. I hope I'm entirely wrong. I mean, no, I hope that I'm entirely right. This is my hope for the future. I hope that my certainty that I am not an integral, like a unit of selfhood, I hope that is correct. I hope that I vanish as if I've never been what I am now.
Well, that's what the Bible actually brings out. The Bible says, whenever you die, you're going to go down to hell, the grave, and you'll just cease to exist. So in that sense, the Bible would be true in your case, Lily, that your hope will be, that would be the assured expectation. So
No, it's not.
The thing is that
it's a shared it's a shared view. It's a commonality between that view and her view. It doesn't make the Bible true. It doesn't make Lally
not in the
true.
least, because
what
I mean, what they say is a soul, my soul, me,
this unit of meanness that lives maybe somewhere around my, I don't know, corpus callosum or something, pineal gland, whatever, is somehow going to travel somewhere and be punished and killed. That is not what I said.
No, you said whenever you die, you'll just cease to exist. That's what the Bible says. Whenever you die.
No, that's not what actually she said either. You're not listening.
You're not listening, Mark.
I might not be here. I might be getting confused because Druss was trying to represent you, Lily. Sort of taking two.
Well, no, you've already proven by talking to me that you don't know how to represent someone's position correctly. So I think, Lally, it would be in your brain power to not waste your time talking.
Joseph, the question I asked you is, what is your hope for your existence? Your existence is your being. So what is your
okay.
being?
If it depends what sense we're talking. My existence has never began, and so it will never end.
See, that's just not making sense. Because I mean, are you alive?
I know.
Really? Yeah, but that would just be there is nothing that's irrational, like under the ideology of atheism.
Did I say I was an atheist?
Well, it would be fun.
I just love the flying.
I don't.
I just love the flying non sequiturs that keep going on, like these constant flying non sequiturs that come out of nowhere. These statements that have no, these and you try to leverage these statements into other statements that again have come out of nowhere, and you just end up looking like you just end up looking like
it's not his fault. It's not his fault. He has a script. He has
so it is his fault.
Things.
It's his fault.
He role plays.
Script.
Well, he role plays because he thinks that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, so it's ultimately his fault. There's personal responsibility to be taken.
He unfortunately fell in love with someone who has convinced him that this is the right way to live.
Oh, that's his problem now.
It is, but I have a lot of empathy for that.
Of his problems.
I used to be an atheist, and I mean, I've spoken to a lot of atheists since, so it does turn into a script. But whenever I ask an atheist, what is their hope for their existence, their being, for the future?
No, that's what you say.
They all answer their hope is to die. Ultimately, that's what it comes down.
It's not that our hope is to die.
On stage. That's what's said on the platform when you role play these things at doors. I know this. I've even seen the scripts.
If your
doors
is your hope to live,
the knocking off doors. You read The Good Word?
Oh, okay.
The preaching work, yeah.
Gotcha.
Is there anyone in this room who hopes to live?
Okay, first of all, Christ Almighty, do you mean hopes to live eternally?
Yeah, everlasting.
Okay, then why didn't you fucking append the question with that word?
Right, because I don't think that
clear.
I don't
that's smiley face. Yeah, that's smiley face fucking around again. This is what I despise about you. You refuse to speak clearly, and you jerk everybody off. I'm fed up with it. I hate it when you do it in the comments, when you do it in comment threads, and I hate it when you do it here. You deliberately obfuscate your point, and then you jerk everybody off. Fed up. It gets to the point where I'm simply disinclined to allow you to keep talking at that point, because if all you're going to do is jerk everybody off.
Well, the Bible foretells when people hear the good news, some of them will get angry.
But the problem is that the Bible actually speaks more clearly than you do. Well, so you're not telling the good news. You're not giving the good news when you're prevaricating and when you're leaving critical words out of the questions. You're not giving anybody any good news at that.
Right, like when you're frustrating people by having an intentionally ambiguous conversation with them and then misrepresenting their position because you weren't clear on how you asked certain questions, and you were filtering their answers through the way you asked. No, hold on, man, because this is important. Because if for anyone who went to school, basically, right, would understand that to communicate an idea clearly, you have to be as clear as possible. Right? You have to use the words that you want to communicate to the other person so they can fully understand you. When you are a person that intentionally avoids doing that, you purposely do that. You purposely make it confusing for people so you can walk them around this merry-go-round and get to your stupid conclusion for whatever it is. No one's getting angry with you or upset with you because of the Bible words. They're getting upset with you because of your horrible, horrible social behavior. And I think that's in their right to do so, right?
I don't think I've done anything. I mean, all I asked you.
Well, of course you don't.
Well,
You're
of
the
course you
perpetrator.
don't.
You're the
What is
perpetrator.
your
right.
hope?
The perpetrator never
your
thinks they're
existence?
doing anything wrong. Do you think when the thief walks into somebody's home and robs them, they're going, I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I should think about this beforehand.
So
No.
I think I can explain it in a way that is really, really clear. Mark,
You think
if
it's
you
just
take,
passive
if you,
aggressive? You think it's just
if-
passive aggressive? Is that what you're saying, Joseph?
Oh, he's
No,
all
it's
kinds of passive aggressive. That goes without saying.
Right. That's not what I'm saying, though. He, as you can see through this conversation we just had, Mark has asked certain questions with definitions behind words that he never bothered to explain to anybody that he was trying to ask in a certain way. That, number one, is going to impede any progress, right? And then number two, when he gets the answer that you give him, and we're trying to answer as honestly as we can based on what he's asked us, right? I give him the answer, and then he deliberately misrepresents what I say to fit his preconceived narrative. Now that, to me, is frustrating, and I'm sure it'll frustrate anybody else that thinks logically, right? Because
I would
kind of annoying.
I'd want to commend you on what you said earlier, Joseph, and I'd encourage people to apply the principle. He said, Joseph brought up a Proverbs. It says, the first to state his case seems right until the other party comes and cross-examines him. So,
When the fuck
yeah.
did I say that?
Oh, he said that about 2 minutes ago, but he said it in a different way.
I can hear you smiling. This is like, you see what I'm saying? This is a big joke.
Yeah,
to you,
people
but-
don't say things in a different way. They say things in the way that they say them.
Right.
And their words don't mean what you decide they mean down the road. They mean what they actually meant what they said them. Table is table, chair is chair, lamp is lamp. Table is not leprechaun. Chair is not fucking chick done up in fucking leather gear. And fucking lamp is not dildo. Okay?
and
Like, smarten the fuck up.
That's basically exactly what I wanted to say, Mark, is when you change the definition of people, when you change the words that people use to your own definitions, which is what you're doing with hope, that's what upsets people.
These are not my definitions. These are basic Google
No.
definitions.
You took what
No.
someone said and then you changed the context by adding the word, so you hope to die.
I say, what is your hope for your existence? I mean,
Yeah, but Joseph
what
didn't
definition
respond.
for-
Joseph didn't respond with anything to do with living or dying. Joseph responded with what he responded with, and then you added in your decision that meant that he hoped to die.
Yeah, no, I asked him. So do you hope?
So you
your
were fucking
family
around.
live-
So
he
stop
said
fucking around.
I asked him, do you hope for your family to live forever? And he said,
So,
no.
like I said, quit fucking around. Because that's what you're doing. You're fucking around. Well, stop it.
But
right.
Seriously.
I'm open.
Because if you're gonna ask me, hey, do I hope my family lives forever? The first answer in my head is nobody lives forever. And if you're gonna charge me for that by saying I hope my family dies, then if you're gonna play that kind of semantic game, then you can do that by yourself, because that's not what I was saying. I was just coming to grips with reality that nobody lives forever. Don't ask me hopeless questions, right? I don't care for hopelessness. I care for hope that I can invest in, right, and can see outcomes from in the future. So if that was your goal, was to try to get me to either affirm or deny wanting my family to live forever, you're not going to get that answer from me.
Well, Joseph, I think what's been brought out here is that, yeah, you wouldn't want your family to die. I think if it was possible that for your family to live forever, you would want that for them.
Yeah, but there's
from
no
your
proof
world-
whatsoever that you have any vector whatsoever to make that happen. So don't even start to walk down that path.
From your world,
And that's the hopelessness.
I don't think
yeah,
I
you're
don't
hopeless.
think that in the vain hope of that perhaps possible reincarnation event, which he has no reason to have believed would happen, he would be willing to commit himself to a lifetime of somebody else's arbitrary rules, which can change on a moment's notice, not to mention putting him and his family in the
Really,
grips of a judicial system which is completely separate from the state system
Really,
and has
the
its
Bible is
own
stood firm from the beginning, pretty much. So I wouldn't say something that can change at a moment's notice.
Oh, yes, it can.
The only thing God really changes his mind about is
I'm talking about your governing
this isn't
body.
about God.
The people
Yeah,
who
this isn't about
translate
God.
God for you. The people who
Yeah.
claim to translate God for you.
Beware of people who have to tell you what God said. Beware, beware, beware.
Well, whenever an Ethiopian was reading Isaiah out aloud, one of the apostles came to him and he said, "Do you know what you're reading?" And the Ethiopian said, "No, not unless someone explained it to me." And then he went and got baptized there and then after it was explained to him that Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's
came
nice.
to earth.
Beware.
Yeah.
beware-
So someone told him
What
the
to think.
theology.
I obey
And
the
so
word
the
of God,
theology
really,
was
not,
what he believed and not what God said.
No, explaining someone, it's a bit like algebra. If you get a bunch of kids in a classroom and a teacher's teaching them algebra, they're not being.
Yeah, but algebra changes very, very, very rarely.
But you wouldn't say they're being brainwashed into that. It has
You
to be
would if algebra depended on the edicts of a series of elders.
I didn't mention brainwashing.
Well, algebra needs explained to children the same way scriptures need explained to
It's
children.
a very different thing because there's no import.
Math has a structure to it, right?
Algebra, which
Reading the Bible-
varies.
Reading the Bible and interpreting it doesn't have a structure. It comes from the interpreter. It's
Yeah,
arbitrary.
I've got a
How
very.
would you interpret the Ethiopian who said, "How could I understand?"
What if I was to
unless
tell
it
you?
was
Yeah.
explained to
Fuck
me?"
the Ethiopian. What if I was to tell you? That Scripture does not need interpretation? That since the Scripture is God's direct message to anybody who reads it, that anyone who opens at it and looks at it and who is open to it will be spoken to and have it explained to them directly by God through the messages He lays on their heart.
That's how I learned it.
Scripture does not need interpretation.
That's how I learned it, and I learned that in Catholic school.
I was actually going to ask the question, Mark. Do you believe everything that the Catholic Church teaches?
The Catholic Church?
Mm-hmm.
No, of course not.
Do you believe everything that the Mormons teach?
No, of course not.
So how come you don't have to have their interpretation of Scripture explained to you, and why don't you accept it?
Well, the key word there is of Scripture. There's things that Catholics teach that aren't in the Scriptures. And Mormons actually use another book that isn't part of the Scriptures.
There's things in that I believe that your governing body teaches also that aren't in the scriptures, or weren't rather, until they made their own translation.
Yep.
And
For the longest time.
Can you give an example of that?
Well,
For the longest time, the exception.
I can't remember exactly what verse it is, but they left some things very much out, and they changed the name. They changed names all over the place.
Yeah, if you look it up on Wiki, variances in the Bible, there's all types. There's at least 10 verses that were added to the King James version of the Bible that were not in the other manuscripts. So they added stuff and taken stuff out.
And I appreciate you coming to defend me there, Bob. Lily, he gives the answer. There was things that were added to support like the Trinity teaching.
Oh, certainly there were.
And,
I agree. I don't
removed.
find the Trinity anywhere but in John. And I don't think the Trinity is coherent. And I certainly don't hold to the Trinity.
Yeah, so
I think
what Bob is saying, you're
that's
saying
not
there
my
for
point at all.
passages that were added, and Bob's.
He's talking about the King James version. I'm talking about the New World version.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can you give me an example?
The New World was not translated from the King James.
No, they went back to original copies.
Actually, you don't know
They're all
that because
original.
they're anonymous translators and they never told you what they did.
No, it's all available if you want to research
Fred
it.
Franz, I think, was the primary one, right?
But the first you mentioned in John, there's Trinitarian scholars who actually translate John 1:1 differently themselves. They don't say the word was a God. They say the word was.
I agree. I mean, I think that John is a later addition. I think it's a basically a theology-filled gospel that really has very little to do with the rest of the book.
And it was funny enough, the most sacred text to 5th, 6th, and 7th century Gnostics.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think any version of the Bible is true. I'm just saying that as someone, I'm trying to go baby steps. Basically, I'm not trying to deconvert you from Christianity. I'm trying to get you to rethink a decision that I'm afraid you're going to make.
You wouldn't be able to deconvert me because I've tested the scriptures and without a doubt.
It's no one's place to deconvert anyone. I'm asking you to make a mature decision on your own.
Well, in my case,
It
would
has to be
be,
left for him to do on his own then.
whenever I come in here and I want to sort of talk about like sort of good news with you guys, is you used to. I mean, what came out earlier is that the only reason why you don't have sex with a person of a certain age is it's just an arbitrary age of consent. You don't actually.
No.
Why is it arbitrary? Why is it arbitrary?
Because of the inner witness of my value system.
Why is it
Yeah, well,
arbitrary?
that's-
What makes it arbitrary?
Or it's based on what's right in our.
All right. Hey, Mark.
No. I'm sorry. Why is it arbitrary?
No.
Why is it arbitrary?
Yes.
Well, that's what I've been asking. Used to justify.
No, stop fucking around. Why do you think it's arbitrary?
Because I've asked you to justify it and you can't, so it must be.
We have given you a justification. It's
You're not
just
using the word
it's not an external justification. It's a justification where it places the responsibility for determining the age of consent on the body politic as a whole. In other words, we make the morality, which is what I've tried to explain to you about this so-called subjective morality, which really isn't subjective morality because it doesn't change anywhere near as often as theists want us to think it changes.
So in a land where the we says it's 12 is the age of consent, and in a land where the we says it's 18.
I'll explain that. I'll explain that. I'll explain that. I got that. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. There was a time when 12 years old was fair game. That was a time when a lot of us lived a lot shorter lives. Okay, now there are very few places around the world where 12 years old is the official age of consent. Most of those places now Dionysius says that it's 12 years old. Quite frankly, I don't believe it. But that being the case, I mean, people who are allowed to have sex at 12 years old, I mean, that's a society that doesn't do as well as people who force individuals to wait. So, I mean, yes, you're right. Different countries don't do things really the way they ought to. Welcome to humanity. Some countries do their morality a bit different than others. Generally speaking, most of the time, though, we do act to protect children. And believe me, if Mexico suddenly saw that there was a direct correlation between a 12-year-old age of consent and a direct harm to their children, they would change that because no society, Dionysius, would you shut the cunt up? No society can function, okay, over a long term without protecting their children. They just have different ideas as to what that stands for.
Yeah, then it doesn't it doesn't even matter though. He's trying to say that we don't have a standard, or we don't have a way to say that it's wrong. Tell me in the Bible where it says child molestation is wrong. Point one verse in the Bible that tells me it's wrong.
In California.
No, Mark. Tell me one verse in the Bible where it says molesting a child is wrong.
Well, that's easily done. Actually, Jesus said it would be better. It would be better to have a millstone hung around your neck and thrown into a well than to cause one of my children to fall.
No, he was talking about his apostles.
He's talking about
but you connect that up with his notion that says, "Suffer the little children to come unto me," and I think there's a connection there.
No, you can't connect it up. You
but he's talking about everybody coming to him as a child.
Yes, he said he's talking. If you take it in context, he's talking about his disciples. And his disciples.
I understand that, but as I also said, there is another verse where he says, "Suffer the little children to come unto me." And I think those two can be connected in context.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus brought a child to him.
He may see his apostles as children, but when he said, "Suffer the little children to come unto me," he also laid out the boundaries for what he thought should happen to children. And I think when he talks about the millstone thing, he may be lumping in his apostles as children, but he was talking about children in general.
And again, that's only if you rape and abuse a child. If you don't rape and abuse a child, and they marry the child, and they don't force themselves, but they convince the child to have the sex, then you're not suffering the child, are you?
I'm gonna dispute slightly, even though I'm obviously coming to this as an outsider, but it seems to me that there's also verses that say that in order to come to this realization, you have to have the mind of a child, which is kind of like letting go of your old ideas,
and all that stuff. So I think that it's not necessarily talking about, well, in that one where he said, suffer the children to come unto me, absolutely, but he was mostly talking about, no, it's okay, I'm not going to be offended by these children coming to see me, because people were trying to keep the children back from him, as I recall. But I think I don't know. It's all mushy, and no one knows what it really said.
I've got a good analogy actually on this. And
wait, I want to know what the hell the word suffer means. What the hell does the word suffer mean in that, anyways? Because it says "do not suffer which to live" either. I mean,
it means allow.
Permit.
Suffer
In that
means
case,
allow.
it means allow and permit. Yeah, it means allow and permit.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking up a chart here of the different laws in different states, and yeah, it varies. But yeah, Massachusetts, a male can be married at 14 and a female at age 12.
Yeah,
There are a
but
lot of
those
states,
laws would be changed in a second if the body politic was convinced that. I mean, the other thing too is there's such a thing when it comes to the law. There's such a thing when it comes to the laws as things that are honored more in the breach than the observance. You can guarantee yourself that nobody in fucking Massachusetts gets married at 14.
I think it's illegal to spit on the sidewalk in the town next to me. So
In Ottawa, you're not allowed to walk a pig down Main Street on Sunday.
Yeah, so the age of consent is this collective whole which cannot be wrong, and they're different in all these different parts of the world.
What is wrong? What is wrong in that
that is the
context? What's wrong in that context? Well, what's wrong in that context?
I was trying to ask you guys to justify, what is the right age for a child.
The justification for justification. You're not looking for justification. You're looking no, Bob. He's not looking for justification. He's looking for an authority. That's what he's looking for. On whose authority is this so? It's not a justification. It's an authority. And this is yet another example of Smiley Face substituting words when he means other words. You're looking for an authority.
yeah, but it doesn't matter. He can't justify his own. He can't point to me anywhere in that Bible or anywhere in his God-given morality that says it's wrong. Until he can do that, then I'll tell him where I think it's wrong.
Oh no, I could. The Bible isn't about. I mean, marriage isn't about just having sexual intercourse. Marriage is about having unselfish love. But it's not about your own sexual pleasure.
Yeah, there you go. Not actually answering the question again.
And isn't it a requirement in Christian law to consummate a marriage? Otherwise, it's not valid.
Bingo.
Yeah, that would be a requirement. But if the law was saying the Bible, would
And
also
depending on the particular church or ideology you follow, you have a time frame that needs to be done in.
Yeah, well,
More bingo.
The Bible would say to obey the authority. So if the authorities were saying, yeah, you can't get married until 16, then yeah, the Bible would be okay in that sense. The
So
problem is you
the
guys
Bible then bows to secular authority when it comes to the age of consent. Therefore, whatever the age of consent is defined by secular authority is morally and therefore justifiably correct.
And the hole is dug deeper and deeper and deeper.
No, the point you're missing is whenever you get married, the age of consent set by secular society is because there's unbelievers that want to have sexual pleasure with children. So the age of consent
there
is
isn't.
set.
Hold on a second. There's
Excuse me.
that have
Yeah, there's
That is a really
there's a lot of
and
believers
including
that do
Jehovah's
too.
Witnesses.
No, that's the law is to protect people who don't do who don't love.
Yeah, not to mention all the Protestants and the pastors and the Catholic priests that molest the children in the church. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's covered by believers.
Well, remember we were talking about belief. There's belief which is a mere credence, and then there's a belief which is an action, where you actually, true Christians actually, when they believe, they actually follow.
Belief
the
is not an
Bible
action.
principles.
Belief is not an action. A
No,
belief is a belief.
Yeah, and it also says.
So here you go. There you go. Fucking with the meanings of words.
And it also says when you become a believer and you give your whole heart over, it doesn't change you completely. That sometimes you still have to fight the sins you have.
Yeah, that's right. You're right there.
It doesn't mean you're not a Christian, right?
Yeah, but it would be it's all about knowledge. So it's you would still be fighting with your flesh, but you wouldn't you'd accept God's sovereignty and that His commandments. I mean, His commandments aren't burdensome.
But
Yeah,
you
and
can
when you fight the flesh, sometimes you give in, and but you repent and ask for forgiveness. It doesn't mean
Right.
you're a believer anymore.
But you can act on your sin and then still be a Christian, and then still ask for forgiveness and still be a Christian.
Well, forgiveness would be. I mean, as is where Jehovah's Witnesses, if someone wasn't obeying the principles, they would be sort of cut off for a time as a sort of discipline.
Who would cut them off?
Well, that would be.
Disfellowshipment.
Weren't we
The
just-
the government, the elders would cut them off.
But
in
that-
the, in
Weren't we
the
just-
Star Chamber
weren't-
committee?
Oy, 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 oy. Weren't we just cutting? Weren't we just talking a minute ago about belief? See, this is part of what Smiley Face does. Is he drags us from topic to topic to topic to topic to topic to topic.
But we're getting to learn a lot of Bible truths. And
No,
getting
we're
to
not
see
getting.
that,
We're not getting to learn anything. Bowl of scotch. We're getting to learn the fact that when you become uncomfortable with one truth, you shimmy away to another.
He's
That's what we're getting to learn.
I'll be back.
Bowl of scotch.
I'll be back in 1 second here.
Yes.
Yeah, you go and have a good dip in the bowl of scotch. We'll be waiting.
I think. I mean, I've got a good real world analogy, which has happened to me twice in my life. Which is, I've got on very, very well with a girl. We've gone home. We're both very, very drunk, and because I'm that drunk and she's that drunk, we don't have sex. Fortunately for me, it worked out well both times because we had sex in the morning. But I wouldn't have sex with a woman that's very, very drunk because it may not, that may not be the right thing to do. It may be the right thing to do, and but it may not. And I'd much prefer, if I'm going to err on the side of caution.
Hey, you guys, I'm sorry I keep bringing it back to trying to get him out of that, but it's
It's a fucking
my,
cult.
My bad.
It's a real. I mean, they are a fucking
My-
cult.
I mean,
They're as
you know.
bad as the Scientologists.
I mean, it's not as much
Could
fun.
be- it could be worse.
But I have a
Trying to be. It could
I
be
have a
worse.
lot
You
of
could be trying to become a Mormon.
I don't know if it's worse or not.
Well, I know Mormonism is worse.
What, the Salt Licks?
I mean, I don't think you could determine anything is worse if you can't determine.
Oh,
what's
I think
right.
you can, yeah, because Mormonism walks a lot further away from the Bible than Jehovah's Witnesses do.
I think that
Oh,
all
no,
the,
but
all
I
of
mean,
these
from a
mythologies
position
are.
where nothing is right, everything is relative. How could you say that anything is worse?
Okay, I'm not comparing that to my worldview. I'm comparing it to the Bible. Okay, that you appear to hold
Well, that's
as
what-
an authority. And
Yeah, well, that's what you
and
have to, you do behave.
yeah. And I can look at the words that are on the page, and I can look at their Bible, which doesn't have a lot of words, the same words that are on the page, and I can say that's walking away. And I can look at the Jehovah's Witnesses versions of the Bible and say they're closer to your proper version of the Bible than than the fucking Mormons are, which wrote all sorts of weird shit that has nothing to do with the Bible whatsoever. And I think under that metric, I think I can make a judgment about Mormons versus Jehovah's.
Yeah, I mean, on that metric, I would agree. But that's not the metric the metric I'm looking at is nothing to do with the mythology, nothing to do with the belief structure. It has to do with the behavior of the organization toward its members.
Well, yeah, but as the
That's
behavior comes from the organization and the structure, right? I mean,
Yes.
you can't really have one without the other. So,
But
I mean,
I
you got to start with their final authority.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. That's why I keep talking about his governing body.
And you say we can't
No,
tell
my
right from
final
wrong.
authority
Wait,
is
wait,
God.
wait. You say we can't know right from wrong, but I think there are a number of things that all of us in this room would say are wrong. Yeah, I don't think anybody in this room believes murder is right.
Yeah, the Bible would encourage you to believe that.
But when they ask for
so-
authority, just remember when they ask for for justification, what they really want is an authority.
Right. And I said this earlier, and to keep going back to try to have this conversation with him again, is you're just going to be beating your head against the wall because he's going to keep saying you can't tell right from wrong. You have no authority. You have no justification. And then you guys are going to say, oh, what's your justification? And he's going to say, oh, mine's the Bible. And then we're going to pick through the fucking Bible like we've been doing for the last 45 minutes. And it's just going to keep going around and around and around and around and around and around and
The
around.
thing is, you guys pick through the Bible and you say, oh, the Bible says murder is wrong. You say, well, yeah, that's right. So
Well,
you do know that you do know what is right.
I can point to hundreds of books, religious
Code
books,
of Hammurabi, for example.
and philosophical texts that say that murder is wrong. So why do I need to go to the Bible to get that? I can go to many different sources for that.
Sumerian text.
The Bible is.
Murder's only wrong if God doesn't do what commanded. That's the way the Bible says.
Oh no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. What has been done for years is that Christians have decided that a certain group of people need for killing, and then all of a sudden, now suddenly killing them isn't murder.
Well, the Bible is it's the inspired word of God, and it's for setting things straight. That's 2 Timothy 3:16. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Reproof and correction. Where was the reproof? Where's the?
So what Russ was bringing out there is, I've got these other books. You go to the Bible to set that straight.
Be set straight every time we go to church. We should kill the women and children.
Are you talking about, what was that? Like doing something to women?
If we're supposed to go by the Bible, what the Bible says to be correct. When we go to a foreign country and fight a war, we should kill women and children and pregnant women too.
Oh no, the New Testament says that we should turn our weapons into plowshares. So yeah, we should.
Bring peace. I come to bring the sword.
There has never been a Christian on earth since the time of the establishment of the Catholic Church that has ever lived strictly by the peaceable admonitions of Jesus Christ. When a war has come along, they have always taken up the sword and shield and then justified it in their faith, either during or shortly afterwards.
Well,
And this is where he has a comeback because they
see,
don't.
Lily's going to be. Yeah, I knew Lily would bounce. See, Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, they don't. They take. They're strict and neutral. Because we wait for the kingdom of God.
Yeah. So Jehovah's Witnesses never defend themselves against anything. Physically?
Pretty much, that's the stricture. They just wait for this this god with the name they made up to kill us all with fireballs at the Armageddon Day and leave our corpses for birds.
When men conscript you guys to kill each other, we don't take part in that. And if we're forced into it, yeah, we wouldn't. We'd shoot the bullets into the air. Yeah, I wouldn't kill any of you on the orders of a man. Because I love you.
So,
but your hope for the future involves watching us burn
No, my hope is that you guys will
and decompose.
You'll stand there and watch someone kill your kid, and you won't pick up a gun to defend them.
No, my hope is that you guys will acquire accurate knowledge.
So what I said was, you'll stand there and watch somebody kill your kids and family, and you won't pick up a gun to defend them.
I'm talking about neutrality with sort of nation affairs. So yeah, I'm not talking about defending.
But you said you would turn the other cheek, that you wouldn't do violence, and from my view, my religion does not ask me to turn the other cheek. Yeah, you come up, you try and hurt my family, and I will defend them with all power that I have at my disposal.
Yeah, no, I mean the Bible says that my role as a father is to provide my family spiritually and physically. Yeah, so if someone was going to hurt my family, I would defend them. But yeah, I wouldn't shoot another man on the order.
So how would you defend them then? Because I hate to break it to you, but these days most true aggressors, they come packing heat. So how would you defend them then? How would you defend them? Are you Bruce? Are you Bruce Lee? Are you Neo? Can you dodge bullets? Because that'd be pretty important.
I would share the good news with them. I mean, that's like I'm sharing it with
yourself. For fuck's sake! Oh,
you're about to get robbed. Have you heard the word of Jesus?
You're gonna slap him upside the head with a Bible. Yeah, that's gonna work.
Yeah, you would share the good news with the Einsatzgruppen in the 1940s. Yeah, I could. Yeah, okay. They'd be like, "Yeah, we have good news of our own, Kapow. Excellent news."
I haven't been tested with that, and you could say, it could be Jehovah protecting me, or I just haven't faced that trial yet.
Oh my
Why do you call him that? Anyway, they're speaking of I know that one of the points of pride that is held is the fact that JWs went to the camps. But did you know that previous to that, they actually wrote a letter to Hitler, kind of saying, "Hey, we agree with you. Just don't mess with us."
Well, that's what they still do that today. They don't take part in the world's affairs.
Right, but did you, I mean, they pretty much they weren't
and we're the ones
stand
who
up.
are morally bankrupt. Yeah,
They
okay.
didn't stand up. They kind of went like, "Hey, we agree with you about those Jewish people. So just like let us do our thing here, and we're not going to mess with you."
No, whenever you say like they said we agree with you, it was
I'll find the letter text for you.
Yeah, I mean, what you're trying to say there is, we should either kill a man for Hitler or kill a man for Churchill. We just don't take part in that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, of course, you really don't have a choice when the war is at your back door. I mean,
well, if all the people take the attitude of not killing someone for Hitler or Churchill, then we wouldn't have.
Except then you know what you would have? You would have a whole bunch of people sitting quietly while about 12 people killed everybody.
Yeah, but I mean I think that would give you time to speak sense to them.
Time to what?
Hey, you know what? I was thinking. This is like an interesting topic. Just to kind of derail a little bit. So we were talking about like sin and like crimes. I was trying. When you guys were talking about sin, I was thinking of the law and the way that the law works. And it's interesting because it kind of reminds me of this Wagner's last opera, Parsifal, where the protagonist shoots this. They're looking for the pure one, and he's a fool and he's the pure one, but he kills this swan or whatever, albatross, I think. And the guy comes up to him and he like corrects him and tells him, like, why did you kill that innocent bird? And like he doesn't recognize that like what his crime was. Like, but when he was told, then he had like pains of conscience. And I think the way that most laws are written is that, okay, so you get your pangs of conscience from being punished for doing any type of behavior, whether it be sex or stealing or murder. But I think with the absence of punishment, you can't really form a consciousness or have pangs of consciousness, nor be held accountable for your behavior. And I think that's the reason why.
In the first stage of developing ethics, perhaps, but that's only stage one. That's what happens with children.
Right. But that's exactly what I was going to say. I think that's the reason why the criminal justice system usually, whatever you've committed, unless they want to, if it's so egregious that they feel like society would be in jeopardy if they let you loose. Like when they charge, for example, a kid in adult court, like in the case of the Slender incidents where teenagers like stabbed a 12-year-old girl. But I think for the most part, it's assumed that you're not fully developed because you hadn't received enough punishment to get the pangs of consciousness. But I think the Bible is also very much like that. Like, I think that the Bible is written in such a way where, like, it's only like a sin if you didn't know it was, that you knew it was wrong and you actually felt pangs of consciousness, right? And then you refuse to repent and you continue to do that act. So let's say like I cheated, right? And I was married and I committed adultery and I didn't really realize the implications of adultery. I don't think that would be considered a sin. I think it's only considered a sin like once I felt the pangs of consciousness, just like where that guy killed the albatross and then did it again after knowingly.
You know the difference between conscience and consciousness, right?
Okay, so I'm just going to continue because I don't think that's important.
Because you used them wrong.
No, I'm not. So I think.
Well, good throwing it on. We're done. Yeah, whatever. You got your point. You understand. I don't think you have to. The pains. Punishment. I didn't punish my kids when they grown up to teach them anything. I didn't spank them.
Dude just said that.
Not pain.
Guy literally just said Nazis are coming at his door, ready to kill him and his entire family, right? And he's going to defend his family by sharing.
Oh no,
the
that
good
was
news with them.
a hypothetical, Tom. Where
Right. And in the hypothetical, that's what you said, right?
Yeah, Josh
And
said
so
that.
Dionysus thought that was a good point to talk about something else, right?
Yeah.
For fuck's
Just a
sake.
quick question: What the fuck's a ping of? Were you saying ping of consciousness?
No, pangs, like PANGS.
And then he said consciousness instead of conscience, which was my point.
Gotta go.
Yeah, like yesterday, I felt a pang about painting this painting. Like I felt like this is something I shouldn't be painting. Like the world would be better off if I just stopped this. I would be better. And there was this pang, and it seemed as if I felt it and I knew it, but then I just like waited out until I don't have that anymore.
Yeah, what you felt was me saying, no, don't stop doing that painting because you should be doing that painting.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, no problem. Gotcha. Got your back.
I'm just using that as an example of my pangs and conscious.
No, but I think that, like, but I think that observation is like an interesting observation. I mean, it took me a little while to realize that having feelings of regret is not necessarily means that you've been sinful, but it's once you feel regret and then you continue to do it anyway, despite the way that it's immoral to yourself. So.
Where's everybody going? Is somebody sniping a hangout?
No.
Is everybody just dropping?
Yeah.
They're joining Gus's new hangout.
Well,
I'm kidding. I don't know.
I don't think Gus can make a hangout right now. He's only got a tablet. So.
I think Gus would have a hard time keeping up a hangout.
Why?
I think he's too controlling when it's his hangout. I think that would it probably would annoy enough people.
One of his rooms?
What's
You
that?
know about his off-air rooms? He's had lots of hangouts. They're always full.
Yeah, they're always full. They always last hours. So.
Well, I've seen him. I've seen him get controls in like Nadia's room. Maybe not Tom's room, but Nadia's room, and people usually.
Well, maybe like an open style hangout. Maybe, yeah. I mean, he'd probably kick out a lot of people, but he'd also probably have a lot of people that wanted to be in. So, and that he wouldn't kick. So.
Dio, kind of like Fight Club, don't you think that you're supposed to feel the pangs of your conscience and then push through it anyway at points? Like, don't you feel like you've personally already gone through that type of behavior maybe multiple times to normalize it, and then but you recognize it, and then you posit this ethic about it, but don't you feel like you personally have known better and just done it anyway? Don't you kind of
No, I think
that way?
I'm my mistake, lady. I did say consciousness. I thought you were correcting me on pain versus pangs. But I think with me, I mean, I think my pangs of conscience are like so severe that it's crippling. I think that's the reason why I take antipsychotics. I think
you have pangs of conscience?
I mean antidepressants.
Do you really?
Yeah, but it's a contradiction, right? I think it's kind of like
that amazes me.
Like La Rochefoucauld, the maxim writer, wrote like these really wise maxims, and he says in one maxim that it reminds me of, he has these like really subtle, nuanced psychological observations, and he says that people do good in order to do evil with impunity. So I think like a lot of people, if you think about that for a second, it's almost like a chemical thing where people can only be altruistic for so long, and then like radically rationalize it has to be cruel. Like there's no other way around it. Like I think cruelty and being altruistic are balanced, and I think the more you do of one, the more you do of the other.
I think you're wrong. But that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, like, do I have like pangs of
conscience when I come like these hangouts and insult people. Not really, not for the most part.
Yeah, that was what made me go, what?
I mean,
How is that
stuff
possible?
that I think conscious about it, or like other like stuff that I haven't revealed. I mean, it's not stuff that, it's just personal stuff that it's stuff that doesn't go with how I perceive myself, my schema. So, because like I think,
do you think it's part of your schema to be as gratuitously cruel to people as you are? It's just part of the scheme. Just
whatever.
Really.
Yeah. Oh my God! Like if you can't tell when I'm joking by now, then I think you need psychological help.
No, I can tell that you're joking. It amazes me that you think it's funny.
I've had women, like, it's so funny. Like I haven't even done things that bad. And I remember like women always want to call you a psychopath. I sit at a bar, I'm at this bar, and this fucking woman, I mean, this girl didn't even fucking know me. It didn't even take like an opportunity to like say, so like what happened in this situation? Like why did you respond that way? It was automatically like a psychopath when I see when you're a fucking
That's
psychopath.
called radar. I had the same reaction.
I'm not a psychopath. I promise you. If I was a psychopath, I would.
If I were a psychopath, I would tell you.
No, but I mean, I'm in this monologue that I'm telling you right now. I mean, I didn't like tell her that. I just like smirked and said, "Well, that's cool that you think I'm a psychopath. You better be scared."
I'm not scared of you. Just because you're a psychopath, don't mean we're not scared of you.
So let me get this straight.
I think smack the shit out of you and make you cry like a little
I would
girl.
be. I would be not scared, but cautious enough to keep my distance. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, but I think if it came down to it, you could smack the shit out of him and make him cry like a little girl.
Dionysus, the claim is that you're not crude, right?
Yeah, there you go. That was this morning, I think.
Crude? What's crude? What do you mean by crude? You there?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do I mean by crude?
What do you do? Do you just you're like, I swear to
The
God,
miracle of screen capture.
I really starting to believe that Tom is really God. Like, so I thought you were asleep. Like, you think you have a recorded history of everything I've done wrong.
Well, that's a reactive response, because a lot of times, like initially, I would just remember things like this, and you would then deny them. So when people start to do that, I will take action, because like otherwise, you'll try to deny it.
Oh.
By the way, I didn't take that screen cap, but
I did.
keep in mind that people are on to the same thing.
I take lots of screen caps with live chat.
Yeah. What were you just saying, Lydia? That you're not rude or something? What was the claim?
Oh, me? I'm rude.
No, Dionysus. He was saying that he's not crude or rude.
Oh, that's
or
right.
what?
He's
Just
a
like
cultured
2 minutes ago,
He's a
right?
cultured individual. Yes.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say I'm not crude.
I thought that's what you guys were just talking about.
I'm probably not nearly as crude as you think. Oh, I was talking about psychopathology.
You know how crude I think? I think you're this crude that you would say something like this.
I mean, I don't necessarily think you're a psychopath, but you do set off my red flags. How's that?
I have a feeling that like everybody sets off your red flags, except
That is entirely incorrect.
No, that's
You
wrong.
are one of the two
Except
people I've
that's
met
a
on
beta-
G+.
that's a
No,
beta-
you're one of the two people on G+ who has set off my red flags.
Who's the other one?
You feel honored?
I
I have no intention of telling you that.
I want to know if he meets my standards, my approval. I just feel like whenever I say crude to people, like in the hangouts, like they deserve it. Just like the way that Tom thought that Stephanie deserved that type of treatment that she received when she came in to the Hangouts. When I asked him, yeah, like you knew what you were getting us into with her. And you're like, yeah, because I think she deserves it. So it's the same thing, Tom. You do the same thing that I do. You just have different methods about how you go about it. So,
You know, you should find out if Stephanie's on Tinder.
like, if you notice,
I know her email, I think.
But if you notice,
Seems like
I
a match
never
made in
jump.
heaven.
I never jump on Christians. You'll notice that. Like, I guarantee you've never seen me like talk shit to Christians like the way that most people, most atheists do in Hangouts. You've never seen me and Shamos go at it.
That's because you share their values. You also are an authoritarian.
I'm just saying, like, we have different, but he also insults people pretty harshly when he does insult
And I
people.
think Seamus is a dick too, but in a very different way. And I have more empathy for. I have empathy for you too, but it doesn't mean that I enjoy your company.
I think Shamos was maybe, I mean, he's an all right guy. I think he's a nice guy. I think sometimes he can be self-absorbed, but that's it. I think everybody's guilty of that. That was funny. I always think about that when that girl told me that. Because I always ask them, I was like, do you think I'm a bad person? They're like, you're not a good person, but you're not a bad person.
I don't know that you're a bad person. I know that you're not a very self-aware person, and that bothers me. And I know that you think more about what you feel than the effect that you have on the world, and that also is a thing. I also know that you
I don't think, like,
a lot lower than I find.
Just because I think because you just don't see, like, because I don't show like my acts of kindness go
Your
invisible.
softer side.
My acts of kindness are invisible, and that's why you don't notice them.
Yeah. I don't buy it.
Okay. Like, that's the difference between, like, I think refined people and people who are not refined. Is that
Can you put that
Right.
screenshot up again, Tom?
it's like refined people do things that, like, when it comes to like acts of kindness and stuff, like nobody notices it unless that other person's refined.
You're so funny.
Who said that? What, Tom? I was gonna put, I just came, literally, I was gonna say, Lydia, I just came all over your stupid face, but I was being kind, see?
Right.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, so sometimes I think that I am in hell when I'm in these rooms. Like, this is like one of the first gradients slipping into hell is hanging out in this dungeon of like passive aggressive attack and hate and the topics. Earlier I thought, God, I got to drop out. It's pedophilia, it's nastiness, yada yada. But then at the same time, it kind of matches my burning pentagram and my dying satyr. And I thought, well, at least the universe is form-fitting in some fashion. But it's so weird how uplifting a non-controlled room like Tom's can be, because Tom's very, very liberal in terms of what he allows. And so it's like watching the habituation of these types of modes like creep in, and they become, we're defined by them almost. It's
I struggle with that. It's like, am I doing myself any favors by engaging in this, or am I harming myself? Am I doing anything that's good, or am I just like feeding something that I don't want to feed?
You know, and actually, I think no. See, I used to wonder about that, but I saw something on PBS, and it made me realize that it was a good thing because this is the way that I see it. So, like on PBS, they were showing like how white people were trying to desensitize black people from being reactive, and when it came to the real race issues, and what they would do. And she's kind of pretty. Who's golly? Tom, is that your girlfriend?
No.
Oh, I was like to say, Jesus Christ. Look at the ass on her. Where are you getting that from?
That must be from the cache of assology.
That's fantastic.
You like this style of woman, Dionysus.
Professor.
I like how she puts
archives.
the tools for her project all over the kitchen in different locations where she has to go get them. It's like, oh, I left the scissors in the cupboard here. I gotta go get those. She has a name, Dionysus, so you could probably look her up.
Nah, sorry.
Silly me.
But I was gonna say on PBS, they during the race stuff that was like the civil rights era, they would take black people and like the white people would sit there and call them niggers and all kinds of really horrible things, and they would actually like flick ashes on the top of their head, treat like it was an ashtray. But they were like it wasn't like they were doing it out of cruelty. They were doing it to get the blacks desensitized to that, so they could respond to those situations in a non-violent situation. It's in a non-violent way. So no, I think these hangouts have toughened me a lot more towards I think it's had a more healthier. I didn't think so at first, but I think you have to kind of endure it long enough.
Why do you say more healthier? Why not more healthy? Like what's up with your grammar in that you've like, as a college graduate, when you say something like more healthier,
it's the clonazepam that I take.
What? You take it like during the day?
I just took one.
I don't think you're gonna just blame it on the clonazepam. I think it's, yeah. I mean, I notice people's like, I don't know, functional bad grammar.
No, wait a minute. I got prescribed Klonopin a while ago. I took it a couple times. It never made me have bad grammar. It made me stupider.
I've been taking
so I
it.
stopped taking it.
Why? You know how it affects. But anyway,
probably avoid that then. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the advice. So, so what I was saying is, see, that's what I was talking about. Like, it's just different ways that people do things. But I think it's also when I've studied grammar probably more so than any of you guys in here, and which I know it seems ironic, but I think there's a grammatical way of saying something where you do say more, like you say it the way that I just said it, and it's a subtle thing that sounds incorrect, but it's actually correct. So I think it is
like more better. That's more better. That's more better.
No.
He's trying to claim that more stupider is right.
I don't know if it's that specific one, but there is one where it does sound really ungrammatical, but it really is like the more proper way of saying it.
All right.
Like it's kind of like saying, instead of saying something is interesting, you would say like it's most interesting.
It's interestinger. It's the interestingest.
No, it's most interesting.
Your mistake would be like saying it's more interesting-er. That's how you're, and that notion that you're trying to like pit your education with grammar and your exceptions relative to me or Lolly or Tom. I think patently, I mean, overtly, just through your grammar, your grammatical approach. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm just saying, like, as far as standard English, you're kind of piss poor in a way.
He's from Louisiana, and it is there's a colloquial, there's a patois down there which is less than, I mean, I don't know. That's just the way people speak. They drop the cheese on their INs, and there's a lot. I mean, I just moved out of the South, and there's a whole lot of that. So it's not necessarily his fault. It's the environment. To be fair.
Well, you're right, to be fair, but I do think for somebody that is trying to like put themselves forward as, you know, some halcyon of education, then I think that Dio is not doing himself a. I mean, he I don't know. It's the bathwater with the baby you're throwing out.
I can't help being fair, even if the person is.
At least when I talk, I don't ramble for long periods of time without really saying anything.
Really?
Sometimes you do.
Well, yeah, maybe sometimes. No, but I think it's also like when I take amphetamines, my grammar gets really, really horrible. Well, not grammar, but when I speak.
Wait! I thought it was the Klonopin, not the amphetamine.
No, I'm not denying that, but I think even like Adderall, anything that slows you down or speeds you up, is going to have that effect. I mean,
so pretty much all the time, since you do one and then you do the other.
Well, I think the like I said, I just took a clonazepam like less than an hour ago. But I think like the one that we were referring to, that's just more or less being reinforced by that and it not being corrected. So I just it's just like if you play the piano, right, and you learn. I still make this one mistake when I play Moonlight Sonata, where reinforced for doing something wrong without realizing it, it becomes almost nearly impossible to correct. And that's
why I gave you the out of the environment, because I do know that it's around you, and that's how people talk, and no one says a word about it. So yeah, it becomes the pattern. I don't know if you realized, but I was trying to be fair. I don't know why, but I was.
Yeah, Lydia, why are you trying to be fair with Dio? Our job is to not be fair with Dio. That's our job in this.
It's like one of those things. It's just like sometimes it's like a Tourette's.
No, I usually like I don't really take criticisms from most people in these hangouts anymore, like personally. But I think if I do take criticisms from people that I don't know and I have met, and if they're really sharp criticisms or very discerned criticisms, and I've just met them within like a few days and I've talked to them, I take those a lot more seriously because they seem to be more discriminating and more discerning. But I think,
would you like a link?
I've heard so many criticisms in these hangouts that I'm like.
I was just going to offer you a link to like a thing about the tenses of the word. What was it? I don't even remember. I'm confused between interesting or interesting.
Listen. It's not like I have. If you looked at my bookshelf, like half of my bookshelf is on the English grammar.
It's just basic qualifiers.
Do you read Nietzsche and Schopenhauer?
I'm sitting. Look, let me show you.
No. Oh my God! It's like Pavlov. It is. It's conditioning. Look at this. I love it. All I had to do was say that. And here he is, like, look at my books, look at my books.
That's all in Nietzsche's books. No, it's just funny you should say that because David and I were talking about it, and he was just like,
I
don't know if you really even read it.
I heard it.
No, I just buy books. I just buy books and I collect them in order to look smart. So when people ask.
I was just trying to get you to do that. I was trying to get you to do exactly what you just did. It was like
show us your tattoo. What's it say?
It says hope.
Oh my God. You just showed a stack full of books by Nietzsche.
I got the hope for Nietzsche.
Are you sure?
Like,
I bet it's.
And that's the thing. That's a pet peeve. Like you said Nietzsche, right? Did you say Nietzsche or did you say Nietzsche?
I said Nietzsche.
Yeah, see, it's Nietzsche. And it just depends on like what you're looking for when people speak.
Yeah. What? Why did you get the hope? Why did you get the hope though? What's that about? Is that an Obama thing?
No. It was like when I was 19 or 18, and I went to Mexico, and I was really into like punk rock. And I think one of the guys that I admired in a punk rock band had hope on his chest tattooed. And I don't know. I think it was just like I thought it was kind of meaningful at the time that I got it. It was I forget what band. I think it was like.
Doesn't really sound like it was meaningful. It seems like if someone else had that on their chest, and so you got it.
You like their music. You could change it to hopeless.
Yeah, I was gonna make.
It'd be easier to add on to than take away from, probably. Or you could change
or
it
add
to
no hope to. You just add no to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Or something like hope the niggers and the Jews all die. Something like that, right?
No, I want the Jews to survive because I won't have any. I don't want to have an excuse to persecute people anymore.
Or hope you're ready, or something like hope you're
No,
ready
they're
to
fucking
run.
scared shitless because they know that we're on to them. They're like, oh no, it's going to be another show.
What are you talking about?
Fucking Jews.
You mean that they know that they're
on?
onto you because you're part Jew?
No, they're not on to me.
Oh, that reminds me. I have to. Yeah, we are doing a fundraiser. No, sorry, we're doing a GoFundMe to get Dionysus DNA tested. So we prove to him that he's part Jew, and so there's the link in the live chat. And if he is 5% black or Jew, then he's gonna have to double the.
I'll shoot myself on live hangouts about that.
No. Whatever we give to him, we'll get double out to like Black Lives Matter and a Jewish charity. Essentially.
How about this? I got it, Tom. I saw it. This is perfect. I saw it. I saw it on Fox News on a commercial on Fox News channel. It was a commercial for donations for Holocaust survivors. How about that?
Yeah, that was one of the suggestions last night.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that one.
Yeah.
When I saw that commercial, I was like, the fucking audacity. Didn't it get reparations for that?
That's good that you're enraged by it.
Oh, I have a good one. I just thought of a Jewish Voice for Peace. Yeah.
It's just shameless because didn't they receive reparations for that? I mean, even more so when it came to like our universities and stuff. I thought they received like a pension or something.
Yeah.
It should fit the bill nicely.
I think most people, it seems around here, like work for like 10 years and then like they end up suing somebody and they end up having like a lot of money and they live frivolously or decadently for the rest of their lives. It's amazing how many people I know that have like gamed the system, and I don't see how it can function that way in the long term.
Are you on the lookout for who you can sue?
No, I don't. I'm not worried about money. No, but I mean, just in conversation, I don't even like talking to people in public because it's just like.
Is that because you're on disability?
I'm not on disability.
Really?
I was. I'm not on it now, but I just took advantage of it because I could, and I felt that for keeping me.
There's nothing wrong with being on disability.
I'm not saying there is, but when I was, I felt because I didn't win my lawsuit that I felt that I was justified in using the system to my advantage.
Okay.
I wouldn't feel ashamed to say that if I was on it right now, I wouldn't be ashamed to say that I was.
Good. I hope you wouldn't. There was no agenda in my question. I was just wondering why you weren't worried about money.
Well, I mean, when I got hooked up with Simone, we were, I mean, like we're pretty like set monetarily, so I got really kind of lucky with that. And I think that's like the reason why
That's
inconvenient
why
to live
you're
together.
claiming. That's why you're hanging around. I get.
I think, well, partially.
Okay, so you're trapping her like a little Cajun rat, and then you got a lot of sympathy, but there's a lot of money on the line, and you guys, you're the king, you're the jack of diamonds. She's a diamond. I see now. It's all making sense.
No, I mean, I have money. I mean, it's not just her money. I have money.
I was going to suggest diamond for him this morning when you were giving him a suit. It would not. Yeah, it wouldn't be glove. It would be definitely diamond.
That's not the reason why.
I would say it's a contributing factor, perhaps, maybe.
Are you like her beard?
What's that? Your beard.
It's like she's really like fucking this black guy, so she just has you around for appearances and like family events and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't care. I mean, to me, it's just I don't see the point in moving out just to be alone. When I get comfort of like just the fact that there's a presence of somebody here that's not terribly annoying. So, and I think I provide that. I hope that I do. I mean, I don't know. She's extremely covert in the way that she thinks. I feel like if she didn't see me be anxious about our situation constantly, then I would be more at risk of her like taking off. I think she likes to see me feel like I need her. If I start working at the chemical plant, for example, and like I'm sort of making a lot, which I could make a lot of fucking money. I think she would start to get really anxious because she's done it before. Like she'll start calling when I worked at the library, and she thought I was getting back on my feet. I remember, like she kept fucking calling, getting obsessive about it because she was wondering when I was gonna get home. It reminds me. This is really funny. So this Nietzsche quote, maxim about women. It reminds me of it. Where is it at? Oh, all right. 7 short maxims about women. How the longest boredom flees. And this is I got to tell you the grammar because the grammar is important in the sentence. So it's how the longest boredom flees. M dash. When man crawls to us on his knees. Old age at last, and science, too, gives strength to even weak virtue. Dressed in black and speaking never, every woman then looks clever. When things go well, my gratitude goes, M dash, to God and the woman who cuts my clothes. When young, a flowery cabin home. When old, a dragon on the roam. A noble name, legs are fine, M dash, as a man as well, M dash, would he were mine. Brief in speech, the sense quite nice, a female ass from treacherous ice. I think it's kind of funny. Held to you, brave working lout, it's always better when drawn out. Always stiffen head and knee, never funny, never keen. Always sticking to the mean, without genius and without wit.
His iams are so emphatic.
The guy, I have an audio recording of this book, and this is a really spectacular translation. And the guy who actually reads the audiobook is amazing.
Robbie Kaufman. Hey, Dio, have you ever hung out with old women, old moms, old people? Have you hung out around them to really to test this dragon hypothesis? Meaning, because it seems like a generalization, and you like to adhere to it, meaning you're giving us the quote. I assume that you believe it's necessarily descriptive. I'm just wondering of the times that you might have hung out or spent time with older women, mothers or not mothers.
Well, I mean, I was born. Of woman. Sorry.
Who wasn't? I mean, that's a qualifier. I'm talking about. Oh.
Are you guys, Tom, you there?
Yep.
Okay. This is interesting. It says, this is Nietzsche. It says, the Jews, a people, in quotations, born for slavery, as Tacitus and the entire ancient world said, the chosen people among us, as they themselves said and believed this amazing feat by inverting values, which is interesting. Right? Thanks to which life on earth for 2 millennia had possessed a new and dangerous appeal. Their prophets fuse rich, godless, evil, violent, sensuous into a unity, and for the first time coined the word world as a word connoting shame. And this inversion of values, to which belongs the use of the word for poor, or synonym for holy and friend, lies the significance of the Jewish people. With them begins the slave rebellion in morality. It's almost as if Nietzsche is saying that Jesus Christ deserved to be crucified. It's interesting. Is that what you get from it?
No, but the people in the chat are pointing out that all your quotes are making the viewers drop.
Oh, all right, I'll stop.
It goes down too much more. I'm gonna have to show that video of that girl with the huge ass again.
I'll put my computer up and you can watch the bird feeders again. that seems to work.
The problem that I have when people talk about morality is like one of the reasons why I don't get into Christian conversations with people or about morality is because it's so incoherent to me that I don't even know where to begin. Like, you guys easily maneuver yourselves, I saw that earlier, and able to attack and align yourselves up in the right positions for attack. But to me, it's like so incoherent, I don't even know where to begin. So I don't even bother.
Saying Christian morality is incoherent?
It's just the idea of talking about morality and the way, in the context in which it's being spoke about, as if it's just a presumption that it's metaphysical in nature, and there's no reason to believe that there's a metaphysics behind it.
You talk about morality all the time.
Well, I believe in immoral things, but I think where I derive immoral, what's considered to be immoral, is just more of a pragmatic way of going about it. I don't necessarily believe that it's.
But you seem to have strong feelings, like fifis, about a lot of the things that you
Well, I'm
find
different.
immoral?
I'm very different than ISIS. So, for example, like ISIS believes in universal morality or absolute right. Right. I kind of got onto ISIS about it. I told him that I thought he was cucking when it came to the Jews because I told him, I said, what about the neocons? I mean, they believed in absolute right and wrong, and that's how they rationalize for profit to get into the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. But I'm more so, of course, with Iraq and Afghanistan. And
Do you equate neocon with Jew?
wait, duh. That's not even like debatable. I'm not going to bother wasting my time doing that argument.
I just wasn't clear that you had kind of put those pins in your metaphorical collage of things on the wall.
It's not metaphorical. It's actual literal truth.
So you actually do have pictures on your wall with tacks and strings going between? That's what I was meaning by the metaphor.
Well,
I mean, I'm perfectly willing to accept that you do.
The father of neoconservatism is Irvin Kristol. He comes from a group called the Jewish Intellectuals, or the New York Intellectuals, which was composed of all Jews. Now, Irvin Kristol's son is Bill Kristol. Now,
William Buckley doesn't figure in.
Paul Wutzowitz. Now, were they not white people? Sure, they were white people, but it's very similar. The way that the parallels that Kevin McDonald draws when it comes to that is very similar to what Freud did, right? So, psychoanalysis was a Jewish psychology, and what Freud did. And this has happened more than once. And this happened multiple times in history. They'll have white people as frontmen for their ideas. So it is because people will more easily digest it if it's not coming from someone who's Jewish. That's why they would use people like. That's why I get really upset when people blame the situation in Iraq because George Bush was dumb and a fool. There's no doubt that he's a fool or he's not very intelligent. The problem is that the people behind the scenes that were pulling the strings were not dumb and they were very cultured. More so probably as conservatives, but they were using him. They were using him to get to what to get their goals achieved.
I don't disagree with that at all. I just have a problem with equating neocon and Jew.
Well, they did. So why would you have a problem equating that?
Because, as you said, it's not homogeneously Jewish. I mean, yes,
well, would you say
psychoanalysis
is a Jewish?
Freud happened to be a Jewish person.
You think he was the only Jew in psychoanalysis?
No. What about Jung?
Was there one white person that he used to help? Well, before they had a break.
What are you talking about? Okay, Jung.
Yeah.
Jung is not Jewish.
No, he's white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do. They do that because it makes it more easily more easily. They do it because it makes it easier to digest.
You got it all fit together, I guess.
I didn't come to these conclusions on my own. I mean, I had these things.
Oh, I'm absolutely aware that you didn't come to it on your own. You were fed this.
Well, no. Well, I was in a passive. See, you're doing the thing that that Nevin was getting upset with you about, and I don't know if you're doing it intentionally, but I was just pointing out that it's not as if I was a passive person that just got brainwashed, right? I do have intellectual faculties that allow.
I didn't say you didn't. I certainly didn't imply that you didn't, and I definitely didn't imply that she didn't.
Well, I mean, it's like Van will say, well, the guys on the SPLC hate list or the ADL is called him the 13th most scariest man in the world. Well,
I think the ADL is awful.
What do you expect a Jewish organization to do about a book? I mean, first of all, there are people who've labeled Pepe the Frog as equivalent to the swastika. How do you think they're going to?
It kind of is these days. It's certainly a symbolic.
Respond to a book that's criticizing the Jews for their actual behavior. I mean, it's all factual based.
I mean, I have a problem equating again ADL with SPLC because I think they're very different organizations. I have major problems with the ADL. I think the SPLC does good work.
All right. They put a school teacher, Ramsey Paul, on the hate list. And Ramsey Paul, I've seen him talk so much. Like they take stuff out of like he told a pedophile joke, but it was obviously a good-hearted. It wasn't like a Louis C.K. pedophile joke. It was a good-hearted. It wasn't even a pedophile joke. He said something to the effect that when he was teaching elementary kids, before he was teaching elementary kids, his instructor told him that it's a lot easier to talk to people if you imagine the people that you're talking to are naked. And he was like, "Well, I thought that might be a little inappropriate since I was teaching elementary kids."
Yeah, that's silly.
The SPLC, the SPL
would be an overstep.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt me. The SPLC went and said that's called him. He made it look like he was a pedophile or telling pedophile jokes. They're
Well, I
horrible.
think that's stupid. But that does not represent all of their work by any means.
I just don't take them very seriously. Just like I don't take the ADL very seriously.
Well, I don't take the ADL very seriously. I take them seriously as a propaganda tool for Israel.
And what they don't realize is the stuff that they're doing is actually what causes their persecution. Like, how can you have such a lack of self-awareness not to realize, hey, we're really starting to piss people off.
Ooh, I want you to listen to what you just said.
Well, I'm not at risk for being genocide acted towards me. Like, I'm not really concerned about that, but they are concerned about that and should be concerned about it, since they do always reach a state where you reach a saturation point with Jews, and then there's another show up. I think there's going to be another. I mean, if the world doesn't end, there's going to be another show up. There's no way, unless they reduce their population. There's only so many Jews this world can take.
Can't wait to find out that you're Jew.
It's not gonna happen.
It's a fine line to walk sometimes, because I definitely have major opposition to the state of Israel and their actions, and I always have. But I find it difficult to have a conversation about that, because people start to hear that and they start to equate what I'm saying with what Daya says. And if you
I've become more of a
listen to
Zionist.
him, and he is a Zionist.
I am.
He would prefer them to be there, and who gives a fuck about the Palestinians. So, yeah, I definitely don't agree with him at all. So you should really be all for the ADL.
Well, I'm the issues that I don't know that much about the ADL. The issues that I take up with is their censorship on the internet and their censorship with regards to
they suppress criticism of the state of Israel is what their primary thing is, and Jewish people. But yeah,
but I thought that was AIPAC that did that.
AIPAC, AIPAC.
AIPAC.
Yeah, it is. It's there. It's a combo. I mean, ADL is not as bad as AIPAC.
AIPAC, you said?
AIPAC, all capitals.
Oh, Fiona's in the live chat. She wants to know about what Spoken said. There's really not much to say. That's just a verbatim quote. That's exactly what he said.
Come on in, Fiona. I haven't talked to you in a long time. You don't look like you're rotting. This is a caveat.
We can probably eventually, but he was on for quite a while yesterday, so have to search for it a little bit.
Well, Dio, why are you a Zionist? I don't know. I find Zionism proper a little. I don't know. I'm unsympathetic. I'm not going to say it's repugnant but it's very commanding, and so I don't know why you both adhere to it, and I don't know. I mean, there's something that you're.
I don't adhere to it at all. I certainly don't adhere to it. I hope I didn't give you that impression. I find it millenarian and authoritarian, and it's scary.
So this is how I see like the Jews.
Fiona, he also said that you're not a Christian too, and etc. He said several things.
Oh, by the way, I think the black German guy, he wanted to know who I hated most. Well, I don't really hate him, but I guess the ones like when you put them in rank, like who's the worst? In my opinion, I think the Jews are the worst because the black people are a lot easier to control and suppress.
Can't wait to find out that you're Jew.
What and the Jew and I think the Jews do things behind the scenes that are a lot more sinister. I don't think what black people do. I think the crimes that black people commit doesn't reach the type of not to say that they can't, but it doesn't reach the amount of sinisterness as what the Jews do. What the Jews do, I would consider to be pure fucking evil. I mean, it really is a synagogue of Satan.
Do you believe in Satan?
I mean, I'm speaking metaphorically. If there is a Satan, it's the Jews.
Yeah, he did something really dishonest where he said that he didn't say that about your appearance as an insult, that it was just a reflection of reality. So it was just him stating a fact.
Yeah, he backtracked and said, "Well, old people, yeah," and it was, yeah. He realized what he said, and it was too late.
What is she talking about?
Little fucker.
He's talking about Spoken. He's an idiot.
He's a total idiot. The thing with the evidence too. Oh my god.
I don't know if he's necessarily an idiot. He's just really young. Isn't he like 18 or 19?
No, he's like 28. He's like 26 or 27. He's in his late 20s. He's married.
I mean, come on, Tom. Why do you think the Jews have been persecuted for so long?
Ah, for fuck's sake, dude. Just looking at that right now.
All right.
We've been doing it. We're on this one for quite a while. Maybe. Let's talk about.
Let's talk about finding out that you're a Jew.
Yeah. For fuck's sake.
Let's just give a couple bucks, guys. Once Dio finds out that he's Jew, right? He's gonna, or black, they'll have to match the funds. So there's potential. Everything we put in could be essentially doubled.
And the question is, will there be an identity crisis and a reassessment of these?
I'm just so fucking come on all your faces when I get back like I'm purebred.
No, you're not. I mean, I'll go over the terms of the agreement very quickly for those listening. Right. If when the goal is hit, Dionysus will, and it goes to Johnny, who is acting as escrow. Dionysus will purchase the DNA test with his own money, right? And then we will release just half of that because that's what we agreed to. So in other words, the DNA costs like $230, whatever. Dionysus buys it, gives us proof of it, and then we give him $115, and that's it, right? That's what you agreed to. So there's not going to be any funny business of whether or not he paid for it or where the money went. We will do that immediately after he provides evidence, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to give him the money, just so everything's on the up and up, right? If he is at least 0.5% black, he has to donate $115 to Black Lives Matter, right? If he is at least 0.5% Jew, he has to donate $115 to what's the
The one I put in there was Jewish Voice for Peace because it's against Trump also.
or the Holocaust survivors. That one we're not exactly sure where it's going, but it's up to us. And if he is both, like these two conditions stack, so he could give 115 to each. If he is black, he changes his avatar to a Photoshop version of him as black, and he changes his name to Tyrone, right? Or whatever Jewish name we decide. There will be a hangout, which we will call the Procession of Shame, which will be shame for being black or Jew. Obviously, there's nothing to be shamed about, but for him, it will be shameful. If he is at least 0.5% black, he has to create a profile on a black dating site. Those were all agreed to, and that's where we're at right now. Now, if he is pure and he isn't 0.5% of either of those, then I have to reveal my genetic makeup, as far as I know.
What if he's first cousins to his girlfriend?
Probably not the case. Oh, Spoken's back. Wow. Spoken says, is Fiona mad because I basically said she looked like death? Because it's true. Oh.
That looks like a job for the screen capture.
Yeah, Spoken. She felt that the comments were mean.
We'll go with douchey, maybe? Gratuitously cruel? How's that?
Does Fiona consider herself a dragon? Just to clear that whole dragon women thing up for Dio.
She's a very, very small blonde Scottish dragon, maybe. Like the Loch Ness Monster, but smaller and cuter, and she likes horses.
All right, get in here if you guys are going to talk. For God's sakes, come on. Don't be doing it in the live chat. I sent you both an invite, so just join in if you're going to yell at each other. Spoken says, well, Fiona, you do look clean, like you bathe and you have good hygiene. Just looks like you're a bit on the very old side. God.
I can't wait for him to be old. I mean, or like have something bad happen to him.
I'm surprised that Spoken doesn't get like rebukings from Christians about this shit. I mean, maybe he does in private, but I mean, I don't think there's any pushback at all.
Fruits of the spirit, something about pangs of conscience or consciousness, depending on who you are, that I recall is supposed to happen. Doesn't seem to occur.
I'm not passive aggressive. I don't know why. I don't know why Dio picks on.
I'm just making fun of you. Is that okay?
Yeah,
That's how
when I say I want to come on your face, I'm just messing with you. Oh, I'm sorry. When I say I come to your face. Yeah, it's like it got into your nose, and it's making it hard for you to breathe.
I'm getting a little bit nauseated, so I like it if you'd stop that.
Is that organic paint, Lydia?
Absolutely not. It's the cheapest I could buy because I'm poor.
So you're killing the planet with your paint?
Sure, absolutely, and ironically painting it green at the same time.
Does it make it better?
Well, it adds irony though.
or something. Savor.
I think what Spoken is trying to say is that his comment wasn't in any specific time frame, like recently. The way he made it sound and like is just that's just the way you look. I hate when all this stuff happens in the live chat. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's like you have to narrate for them. If you want this preserved for posterity, come in and posterify it. Now that was fun grammar.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like that, I'm okay.
No offense, I just thought you were way older. Yeah, this hang is getting cucked by these people in the live chat. Look, and I don't like getting cucked in my own goddamn hangout.
You're getting the bunny angry.
All right, so that's fair enough. But you got to actually come through when you say give me a few minutes, because what people do, like you did yesterday, like BR back 20, and then you never fucking came back.
Yeah. When they brought you in here, you was crying like a pussy. Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be a conscription function where you can like grab people, like Shanghai from the live chat, and like bring them in bodily or iconally, accountally.
Oh, that's a good idea, Coffee. Instead of just changing the title and possibly, oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, I'll just, okay, I'll just make a new, yeah, I'll make a new hangout. That's a great idea. God, that's why Coffee Smug's a mod. He's all right, let's see here.
Oh, by the way, yeah, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know if I need.
Oh, hold on a second.
When are you gonna make me a mod, Tom?
I don't think that would be a good idea.
Dio, come on. By the way, yesterday I did truly mean to.
Oh yeah, wait, hang on a second. Stop.
Okay, I can wait.
Here's the new hangout, and go there, and I'll invite Fiona. All right, I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it.